Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
For Texas Tech, and I thought he was very clear on it.
With the steal and the galloping. The Gators are going to the Final Four. Buzzing here at Prudential Center, and Cooper Flag opens up the scoring with a triple. They'll run it out. And another number one seed advances. The Duke Blue Devils come out of the East. And John Shire is headed to his first Final Four as a head coach.
Defense has a lot to do with this as Lanier shoots off. And again, I think it's time to take him out. And I'm not saying he's a good player. Caney. And a foul is called, and Houston cannot believe it.
Storybook season continues for Auburn. The Tigers are going to the Final Four. It will be all chalk on the Riverwalk. You know where we're going, Tracy?
You're going to the Final,
to the Final Four! Yeah!
Good morning. Welcome into Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. What's up, DB?
How we doing?
Oh, we're doing all right.
Things are good.
It's feeling a little chalky in here this morning.
Yeah. You know the funny thing about my personality?
What's that?
Remember I told you, like, one of the things about me is I will go through all the scenarios.
Mhm.
Like, I can do it real time and still make bad decisions.
Yeah.
And I will tell myself, this is what I signed up for.
Mhm.
I knew what I was getting into. What I tell you when before the tournament first started, when I saw the number one seeds?
Going to be pretty chalky.
Like, specifically.
Ooh. That you were going to talk yourself out of Duke, even though you knew they were probably going to make it.
And I knew that I said there's going to be four number one. I said all four number one seeds are going to be there.
Yeah.
Just seldom that it happens. I got to separate myself.
That's what I did with Auburn.
I said I got to separate myself. So knowing full well
that it was probably going to be these four teams.
That it was going to be these four teams. What did I do? I took Bama over Duke.
Yeah. And you don't even like Bama that much.
Hate Bama. Didn't like the way they played.
Can't defend.
I can't depend on them.
Yeah.
Let alone defend. So I'm not mad. I'm like, you know what? I knew Duke was – because this is kind of how I look at it.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a hot take.
Okay.
But I had my shower music going. I was kind of vibing.
What were we rocking to this morning?
Oh, man, your boy was all over the place.
Yeah.
So I went with a little East to West, Casting Crowns, which you can't really ever go wrong. I played a little – I don't know if you know him. It's this guy, Daniel Bedingfield.
Yeah, I know who that is.
If You're Not the One. I played that. I played Phil Collins, One More Night.
Okay.
I played Casey and JoJo. Love Letter.
That is all over the place.
Yeah.
From Casting Crowns to Casey and JoJo, it's quite the swing there.
Yeah. I like the song Last Night, though.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But anyway, it's like, this is how I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure this is a hot take. Somebody's going to disagree because I'm kind of specific here.
Okay.
So I'm not really leaving myself wiggle room. I still believe. I believe that love is the answer. I don't even know who sings that song. It's old. Love will find a way.
I do know that song. I gotta look it up.
I was gonna do R. Kelly's version, but considering he's
Is that Blessed Union of Souls?
Yes, good call. Very good call.
I like
Not bad for a guy that cannot Google.
That was fast, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's exceptional. Who hit you with the snark last week when they said use the keyboard?
It was severe.
Yeah. So he's the guy
he's the just bleep and Google it guy.
He's the GIB guy.
Yeah.
Who said it to me out loud on
the air.
Google it, biatch. I'm like, you can't say that word. And he said, yes, you can. I said, no, you can't. He said, yes, you can, because he didn't say it how I just said it.
Yeah.
He said it like
the normal way.
Yeah, like pretty
like female dog.
Pretty mean-spirited, right? But yeah, he's the original Google it guy, because he didn't like me asking him questions.
Yeah.
Or he would say, I don't know. Like no, seriously, he'd say it like I asked him. I mean, seriously, like
square root of pi.
What the ending of pi was.
Yeah.
So yeah, the music was good, but I still think.
Yeah.
This now you're talking to a hoops head, right?
Mhm.
I don't know the most, but I definitely think I watch the most.
I would agree. I think you know more than you give yourself credit for, but you definitely watch the most.
I still think when Auburn's playing at their best, they're the most
complete.
No, they're the most dynamic.
Okay.
They're the most dynamic when they're playing.
Win the
best.
most different ways.
No.
What do you mean by dynamic?
I mean that they can blow your doors off before you know what happened.
Okay. I mean, they almost did that to Michigan State yesterday. It got away from him in a hurry.
I think Florida has the most versatility.
Okay.
They have the most options.
Okay.
They've got about 6 guys on their roster that can be their leading scorer.
Okay.
I think Duke is the most complete team.
Okay.
Offense, defense, inside out.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're the most complete. I think Houston understands their identity better than anyone else in the field. Which leads me to anybody can win this thing.
I'll say, so which version of that matters the most?
Nothing would surprise me.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. I'm shocked that Duke's a 4.5-point favorite.
Yeah.
They will not cover. I haven't seen Auburn and Florida.
Yeah, I saw an early line. I think it was.
Yeah, what is Auburn Florida?
I think it was 3.5.
3. So Saturday, while these games are going on, I thought both games would be 2.5 or less.
It's 2.5 for Auburn, Florida.
Yeah, I thought both games would be 2.5 or less.
It seems like a lot for Duke.
I get it. Duke looked impressive. It's not a great matchup, in my opinion.
It also feels like one of those teams that freshmen lose to.
I'm just telling you. Here's the thing. This is why I've been on Houston all year.
Yeah.
They are so physically imposing.
Yeah.
And now Duke is again the most complete team.
Mm-hmm.
But Proctor and their backcourt will be under severe duress.
Oh yeah.
And Flag will have his hands full.
Yeah, that's going to be a really interesting game because I
think it's going to be spectacular.
I think Duke is, I'll say, when I say better, I mean probably more talented. Like Duke is more talented.
I mean, they got three
three guys that are going to the top 15.
Yeah, they got 3 NBA players.
And I think even down the roster a little bit, they're more talented.
Yeah.
But you mentioned
Proctor.
I love
Flag.
Malawak. I love Malawak.
So the 2-man game that they're able to play now is new the last third of the season.
Yeah.
The rim runs, the lobs, the pick and go get it's like
he didn't really seem to have a good feel. Malawak didn't have a good feel for timing the run.
That's the last third of the season,
and
it changes the way their interior gets points.
Really good.
Now the reason why Duke has the advantage over everybody else in the field, I think, even though I don't know if I would make them the favorite. I wouldn't fight you over it though. Their best player doesn't have to play the best.
Yeah.
So they have margin for error.
You can make that argument about Florida too, probably.
I don't know. Clayton has to be the guy. Well, he showed you the other night.
Yeah.
He wasn't until he was.
Yeah, until they really, really needed him to be.
Right? He wasn't until he was.
Can we just, I know this is, especially coming from me, probably comes off a little blasphemous. The only person I've consistently seen hit those kind of shots is Steph Curry. Like sprinting back.
Hey, yeah,
double team,
like
around.
Having an open 10-footer, dribbling out, and then just effortlessly pulling up.
Turning around, not even really looking at the rim and cashing it. Now, Steph's been doing that for 18 years, so it's a little different. But that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like nobody else in the tournament has that.
They're going to have to. So what you saw was kind of their flaw. Athleticism in their front court can sometimes catch up with them. Now, they do have versatility because they can play a lot of guys. But, I mean, lateral quickness and getting to loose things is not really their baby. They're more pretty than they are gritty.
Which is why I like them.
So
I like people that play pretty basketball. I always have.
I mean,
I understand you need a certain level of grittiness, but I've always liked pretty
They
basketball.
got some fellas that can get you, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a guy that's never led them in scoring, lead them in scoring, and the Elite Eight. I mean, when's that going to happen?
That's a nice little bonus.
Yeah, so I think Florida's got the most ways to beat you.
Yeah.
I still think Auburn is the most likely to blow you out. And I think Duke is the most complete, and I think Houston understands who they are the best.
So the identity thing with Houston is really interesting to me because we've sort of been preaching on this, I mean, for years with Husker football at this point, right? But we brought this up with Husker basketball too, and kind of the way they've got the big crown opener tonight, but not to, dismiss the other tournaments. But we talked about this with Nebraska and the way they put their roster together. And if I believe what I believe about Nebraska basketball, and that's one of their fatal flaws, is that they haven't been able to figure out identity.
Love will find a way.
I'm trying to figure out how much that should matter in a Final Four where Houston clearly has that part figured out better than everybody else.
Yeah, and I get it. I agree with you. The problem is Houston doesn't have enough pure ballers.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this yesterday in the group chat.
They don't have enough pure ballers.
Probably a couple.
Right? What did you say? Who said it? Was it Matty D?
Yeah.
The football guys?
Yeah, so he said, he forwarded us a tweet. I think it was a Matt Norlander tweet that said, or no, it was somebody else.
Oh, the two hoopers and the three. Yeah.
And the three guys that could play with the Steelers.
Yeah.
And so I asked the question, if you had two all-conference guys and three NFL guys, how many games are you winning? Because that's kind of what Houston's trying to do.
Yeah.
Like Kelvin Sampson.
Carolina won a lot.
They did. Julius Peppers is pretty good.
Yeah. So was Curry as a football guy.
Yeah, he was.
You know what I mean?
And he was okay as a basketball player.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's fine.
Yeah.
I don't like him, but he's fine.
Out of the run of North Carolina point guards, he was the worst for that stretch.
I just was, I'd had it with these savior point guards that these little squad. I mean, again, it started with King Rice.
Yeah.
I don't expect you to go back into the vault like that, but I think the thing is fascinating. They made Tennessee look pretty average, and Tennessee's
really good.
Tennessee's a good basketball team. The other thing that impressed me, there was about a 6-minute stretch from Duke defensively, where Alabama, who turns the corner on anyone they want to offensively, just kept getting pushed away from the rim.
Yeah,
just pushed away from the rim, and then they were scared to put it on the deck because they didn't want to meet the rim protection. So they just sat outside the arc and shot. And almost every, it's not the next pass, but the two skip passes. How about how a Duke defender was like in their face?
Yeah.
And James,
that's hard to do.
James is he's not the most, because there's a couple of those guys left in the tourney, but he is one of the most underappreciated players. They need an all under the radar team. Zion James needs to be.
Yeah.
He needs to be on that team. He is really good for what they need.
And I don't know that people appreciate when you're talking about the skip passes, how hard it is to be there on the catch.
I do. It's crazy.
Not once, but twice, especially on back-to-back skip passes like that. Like, that's almost impossible.
And, my dumb butt, because Saturday was borderline miserable. Your boy, literally, I sat by myself for probably 6 hours, maybe. Micah did come down to check on me once or twice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And so I just rewound it. I'm like, God, the scramble.
Yeah.
Look at this scramble. I'd seen a stretch like that before, and it sticks in my head when Houston played Kansas, and how hard it was for Kansas to get a good. Oh, now Kansas hung in there till the end.
Yeah.
They ended up with 2 or 3 or whatever, but they just couldn't. Those shots are open against almost anybody else.
Yeah.
And Duke just doesn't give you anything easy. And if you don't attack them, which is why I think Houston has a chance. And Houston's really good with the midi.
Yeah.
I mean, Juzang and those guys. Jusan, sorry. I'm thinking
Johnny.
I'm thinking of Milos. Not Johnny. There's just really good with the pull-up game. Now, they're going to have to make a few, but you got to get into Flag and
Malawak.
Yeah. You've got to get into their chest.
So you sound like you got something in your throat there.
I do. my larynx and an esophagus.
Maluach.
I don't have the little. What are the little dangly things called that look like giblets? They're always in
Tonsils?
cartoon characters, but they look like punching bags.
Yeah. Those are tonsils?
Are they?
I don't know. I'm not.
I don't have those.
I'm not a doctor.
I didn't get mine out until late. I would not recommend that.
Not a fun time.
Bro, I was 18. It's too late.
Gotta be careful there.
Yeah, it was miserable.
Yeah, not ideal.
Yeah. You ever feel like you swallowed a giant scab?
No.
Yeah, don't.
That doesn't sound enjoyable at all.
Ever felt like your breath was hot garbage and you could blow down? Well, you smoke cigars, so I'm gonna say yes to that. Or you could just blow down trees.
No.
Occasionally. It's not like an everyday occurrence.
It's fine.
Nah.
These days when kids say blowing trees, they mean something else.
Good point.
You gotta be careful there.
Blow down
Okay.
trees.
Okay.
Not just blow trees.
Okay.
That's something actually I would say.
Oh man, no, it's I think it's going to be a phenomenal Final Four. I'm excited about it. I think it's, even though you don't have any of these, are the 4 best teams.
Yeah.
Like these are the 4 best teams.
You know who's kicking themselves though?
Who?
Texas Tech.
Yeah, they let that one get away.
Man,
They let that one get away.
it's incredible.
Like trying to grab smoke, just
You couldn't quite get it all.
couldn't get it.
Yeah.
It was
I've used that analogy lots in my life.
trying to grab smoke.
Trying to bottle smoke.
Yeah,
Some people's some people are just like that, right?
yeah, you
Where
can't get a hold of
you
them.
just can't quite get it all.
Yeah,
You get a little.
yeah, you're just trying to where's the rest?
Yeah.
No, that Texas Tech, that's kind of like I'm sitting here and I picked Florida, and I like Florida because stylistically they kind of fit my eye, but I don't know that I think Florida's going to win.
Yeah. I was sitting. You see how I was sitting pretty in the
Mhm.
Hurrdat Sports live poll.
You
At
you're
2.
still pretty good.
I am, but there's a Houston.
The Duke Bama thing killed you.
Yeah. I knew it was the separator though.
Yeah, that's why you did it, right?
It is why I did it.
Has Florida had the closest games all tournament?
I
Out of the 4?
So here's the thing about
think
Florida.
so.
For as complete as everybody thinks they are,
Yeah.
they have sleptwalked the most.
Yeah, they have. So they went
Of the four left, they have sleptwalked the most.
So they dog walked.
They've totally light switched it.
Yeah, they dog walked Norfolk State. It was 2 against UConn. It was 16 against Maryland.
And Maryland wasn't great until
Maryland
halfway through the second.
Maryland wasn't very good in that game, and maybe because their coach was piecing out.
Yeah, we might have to get to that. That might have been one of the more incredible. And we've seen some bad exits. I mean, that's pretty piss poor.
Yeah, it was not great.
Not a good dude.
And then Texas Tech by 5, but they were down that whole time. I mean, till Clayton just decided to do Clayton stuff.
He's tough. Do you think he sweats?
He looks so casual.
Like, do you think he? Because some guys just aren't sweaters.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I mean?
He may sweat, but he doesn't stress.
And I mean that. Like, some people just.
No, for real. Yeah, I'm not one of those. I'm a sweater.
I am not.
Yeah, you're not a sweater.
No, not at all.
Yeah, no, I sweat. I'm a sweater.
Not at all. And I like I do, but it's not.
Yeah,
and I think it's just been conditioned because I always wear so many clothes.
Yeah,
from high school on. I actually blame Mike Grant.
Yeah,
former quarterback at the University of Nebraska.
What'd he do?
From Tampa. Mike G,
Mhm.
who, by the way, was at Calvin's funeral. It was so good to see him.
Really?
I gave him a big hug, and he has a huge head, so it's hard for me to like. I mean that with all love.
He's got a huge head.
No, I mean it's like it's seriously, it's like a golf ball sitting on a tee.
Yeah,
Like I mean it's melon, but super good dude. He told me he was kind of unorthodox.
Mhm.
He was very smart. He was kind of like he was like Black MacGyver.
Okay.
He could figure out anything with anything. He was very resourceful.
Okay.
He was Black MacGyver. That's what I used to call him. But he never let his skin show. He always wore sleeves.
Really?
And he had this way that he'd talk. He's like, "Whew, I'm from Tampa, baby. In Tampa, with the sun beating on you." He said, "Brother with brown skin, whew, you got to keep the sun off you. You got to keep the sun off you, baby." And it was so rhythmic and alluring. I was like, I would bob my head with him. I was like, "Whew, I got to keep the sun off me,
You're like,
baby."
I think I agree.
And so I just, in the heat, I would always wear sleeves.
Yeah.
And then conversely, in the cold, as you have so aptly seen, I wear next to nothing. So it's just backwards.
It's true. Yeah, he kind of got that one switched up there.
I made a joke with Damon the other day, and I don't know if he got it.
Yeah.
And he was talking to a very accomplished coach who had retired. So I didn't want to interrupt, but he stopped me. So full disclosure.
Yeah.
Say, hey, something. And the son, man, was hitting. You know, he's bald.
Yeah.
But he's white, right? So there's.
I'm aware.
I don't mean like a newsflash. So you know, like albedo, it's like the rate of reflectivity.
Yeah.
So he was like he's fun. He's super quick.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just like joking about protecting his head. And I said, hey, that's why I have so many clothes on. I said, you know, it's the difference between snow and asphalt. I absorb, you reflect. And I don't know if he wanted to laugh in front. It's exact. God is my witness. If I'm asking. He just said, man, you were something else. But I was walking away, and I was like, is that funny?
That's fine.
Is that funny, Shane? As I was walking away, I was like, I hope Coach such and such doesn't think like, wow, is that how these guys are?
I had to think about what you said there.
Do you know what I'm
saying?
Because
I had a delayed laugh there.
Yeah.
I had to process it.
That's why asphalt gets hot and snow gets the reflection.
Yeah.
This is how science works.
Sounds like something I would say.
Yeah. And he laughed. So I was like, okay, cool. But I'm still self-conscious. Be weird the next time I see him.
Oh, that's funny, though.
Yeah.
He seems like a good-natured guy. I'm sure he appreciated it.
Oh, he's tough. Don't fool you. Don't let the smile fool you.
Yeah.
He don't play.
Oh.
And you want a guy like that.
You can still be good-natured.
Yeah, he's cooler than a fan, though.
Yeah.
But he's about that business.
We will embrace it.
That's good.
He's a guy that would wear. So Verzal has these T-shirts. He hasn't broke them out yet.
Yeah.
But he has a T-shirt that says "F your feelings."
Oh yeah.
And he has one. He's got like an FOF, and he's just got a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
He likes the F word.
As we've seen.
Yeah. And the one that just says "F your feelings," that's kind of how I feel about Damon. He's about that action.
That's
look at all the things he's shaking up.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because it's like the folksiness is very disarming.
It is because he's very good. He can yuck it up.
Like he comes across as just kind of like an aw shucksy kind of. Well, I'm just happy to be here,
he's a stud.
But that can be pretty advantageous if you're able to disarm people that way, and
he's cool.
Go in for the kill.
He has the skill sets in the lab that I think you need. Like if I was going to build an AD here, he would have some of the traits.
Yeah.
Where he's far enough removed where he doesn't give in to old guard or old ways of doing things.
Yeah.
You can't manipulate him out of guilt because of
like nostalgia.
Yeah. Okay. So I love that.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's interested enough.
Yeah. He's invested
in history where it's inviting.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to just don't be that guy.
Yeah.
Just don't be. I told you about alumni, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just don't be that guy, and you're good.
I will say I appreciate people that aren't. I kind of call it like a slave to nostalgia. That's one of my biggest pet peeves.
Yeah, I don't know if I love the term, but I mean, since we're guilty of it too as a people, I'm not just gonna blame other people. I mean, we weren't good to us sometimes too.
But like it's when you're so beholden.
Better word.
It's
a big boy word.
Nostalgia.
You've been in your Tyrannosaurus this morning?
I think you mean Thesaurus. It's a different kind of dinosaur.
Your Plesiosaurus.
I was really more of a Stegosaurus guy. I always liked the Stegosaurus.
Spiky?
Yeah.
Kind of like your personality.
Just a little spiky.
A little EKG.
But I'm actually, herbivore. I'm pretty harmless.
Those are the ones with the square teeth.
Yeah.
Right? Like the Brontosaurus and stuff.
They're just grinding.
Yeah. My favorite dinosaur was
T-Rex.
Yeah, but that, back
then. Go
then.
figure the killer.
It's the little arms, man.
It's disarming.
Yes.
It's like Damon. He's got the little arms, disarming. Kind of sucks you in, then boom, goes in for the kill.
little arms.
It is not optional.
You know the thing about T-Rex?
Are you doing like a Stevie Wonder thing over there? What's happening?
No. Like, I just wonder. This is so dumb. Should I even say this?
Yeah.
This is stupid. Their arms are so little. What would he do if he couldn't find a female T-Rex? Just wait. I'm sorry.
How in that?
Coming up on the show today, we got Sam McKewon. Sam McKewon.
I don't even know why I thought of that.
Just wait it out, man.
Nobody can do
He
that.
said,
He said, "You're such a child. You gonna say it?" So it gave me the green light. You know, I need to be better with a filter.
Listen, I say out of pocket stuff all the time. I
You know
figured
what
it
I
was
mean?
your turn. Yeah.
This is
So what are we doing here?
not a damn thing. Chilling.
Having a hard time with it.
How's your bracket?
It's getting better because I did pretty well on the back end.
Yeah.
I picked too many upsets early. So, but I'm up to like 75th% nationally now, which I was down below 50 for a while early.
How about going from 2 to 9 with one game?
Yeah, it's rough.
No,
And
I don't need your. I don't
no,
need
it's
you to
unfortunate.
placate me.
It's unfortunate.
It's rough.
Well,
Like you care,
And the other part, no, I did because I checked to see where you were at because I was like, man, it'd be nice if one of us won this thing.
right?
It wasn't gonna be me. And so, and the thing that bummed me out though is now there's somebody with Houston ahead of you. That's the part that
I know.
gotcha. That's
I
the
know.
part that's rough.
I know.
You're sixth though. You're not ninth. You're sixth.
I
Tied for sixth.
probably looked at upside down.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you like drop the phone on your face.
No, I was so. Sometimes that guy lay down and read.
Yeah.
How many times you drop the phone on your face? Be honest.
It's happened.
Yeah.
I don't have like a count, but it's definitely
Unfortunately,
happened.
I'm like once a week.
Yeah.
Because my right hand grip is
Not good.
it's atrocious.
Mine's because
You got short arms over there or what?
Well, if you got the T-Rex arm, that's actually advantageous because you don't drop it as far. If you got it too far out from your face, that thing can hurt.
I know one thing, Shane, with your social life, it's a good thing you got long arms. I'll leave it at
Gotta
that, Jim.
reach. Gotta reach.
This dude and his loaves of bread. Get out of here.
We got Sam McKewon coming up at 8 and Ricky O'Donnell from SB Nation coming up at 9. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We'll be back. More Hurrdat Sports Live.
The Mizuno and Oklahoma State softball story is a story of growth and success. After getting to visit the team this fall and watching practice and talking with Coach G, I am confident in this team this year.
The best you is really dang good. I mean, it's really good. Okay? So just be that. No more, no less.
Lightning in my fingers, and I'm nice on my feet. Heavyweight big swinger, got you saying double while the counting to 3.
Mizuno and Oklahoma State softball are built for big moments.
Brace yourself.
Joined now by Super Bowl champion Cam Jurgens. Cam, I'm sure it's been a whirlwind of the past couple months for you. How do you describe winning a Super Bowl and coming back here to Nebraska and seeing the support?
I feel like there's not really any words to describe a Super Bowl championship. It's just, kind of all the dreams and aspirations coming together. And once you get there, it's like you just kind of reset and you're just trying to do it again. It's kind of hard, but it's just something that will last forever. I'll always be Super Bowl champion. You always put that in front of my name, and it's a pretty neat accomplishment and, something people work for forever and never get to.
Would the little Cam that grew up in Pickerel, Nebraska ever believe that he'd be a Super Bowl champ?
No, I don't think so. I mean, my dream was just to be like a Cornhusker. So, I accomplished that pretty early on. And doing this, I feel like, it's a dream come true.
What's up, guys? Kenny Bell here at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. It is round 2 of Menu Madness, and I am personally voting for the Hail Varsity Burger. You can vote how you please, but be sure to come visit us this weekend. Enjoy some great food, some great basketball, and be sure to cast your vote for round 2 of Menu Madness.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Give me that cheddar, we getting Rico. Big money rolls like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, reminding you, make sure you keep those seatbelts fastened and clicked on your way to work this morning or wherever you're going. Maybe you're taking kids to school. Maybe you're just out for a little joyride at 7:30 on a Monday. Who knows? Keep those seatbelts fastened. Yeah, joyride. You never know.
I heard an advertisement for being a deputy, like sheriff.
Yeah? You going to be one?
So is that not a job where you have to, work your way up?
No, I think sheriff deputy is like what did you call officers, I believe.
So you can just be that at any time?
I mean, you have to go through the.
Well, no bleep.
I mean,
I'm just saying,
I can't have to walk in there today. And
you don't have to start out like.
No, there's no. I don't think there's anything below deputy. I think that's the entry level.
Shoot, man, if I couldn't die every day, I probably would think about it. I used to want to be in law enforcement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wanted to be like a profiler, though, right?
Yeah.
Like an FBI.
Yeah. I did.
Hunt down your friends. I mean, serial killers.
I don't even have any friends.
There could be an age cutoff, though.
Very depressing. I wondered that.
I know it's some of the branches of the military it's 30. So you would wonder if there's a cutoff for that too.
I mean, I'm not in great fitness, but I'm in good shape.
Yeah. I think you're in good fitness.
I just don't know how long I could. This is gonna sound
how
long I could last. Yeah. Right?
No, I got you.
I mean,
endurance. It's an endurance issue.
And maybe I would get sore. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Not like the day-to-day.
No, I can walk, numbnuts. I'm just talking about how many days in a row and those guys aren't running down guys, but I would imagine the academy or the classes.
I was honestly, if you could get through the academy, you'd be fine on the job probably. But getting through the academy might be a little tricky. The internet says somewhere between under 40.
Do I have to know I assume it's beneficial to know the laws, but some of those penal codes where they use multiple dots, who's studying that? Is that on a cheat sheet?
I think I don't know.
That would be very interesting.
Because they're not like going to law school or anything, so I don't know.
Yeah, and I learn all my stuff on how to deal with stops on TikTok.
It's foolproof. What could go wrong?
Well, I put it against AI. See what AI says, and then the truth is probably somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. So if you end up in jail, I know what happened.
If I end up in jail, there's a 99.99% chance I said something I shouldn't have.
Like, hey, TikTok told me it was okay.
Like, there's no question. It will be my mouth that got me in trouble.
A little snarkitude.
Yeah. This is how it's gonna go down.
You're gonna be like Jay-Z in 99 Problems. I'm not a lawyer, but I know a little bit.
You know me, man. Like, it's like you can talk about me. You can be mean. Just don't be like disrespectful. Like, that's the trigger.
Yeah.
And then it's just like uncontrollable.
Yeah.
So I've worked on that.
Yeah, I feel you.
Your boy did give me a body shot though.
Who?
First.
What'd he do?
What, kidney?
Oh, he actually hit you?
It wasn't like super hard, but.
What do you do that for?
He wanted to see what the other end felt like. Trust me.
Just cuz?
Yeah. I said, that's what you get. Damn, dog. Yeah, don't do that.
Is that how he said it?
Yeah. No, it's more like this. Damn, dog. I walked out of there with some foil, though. How about that?
You and your aluminum foil, man.
Man, that joker was so heavy, I felt like I was doing a workout. It's I still have it. I'm going to bring it in. It's a monster.
You could just go to like Restaurant Depot or something, or no?
It's free.
Oh, he's not making you pay for it? That's nice.
Yeah, he must have felt bad.
What a good friend.
Oh, there's a little knuckle mark.
After he's like, I'm not going to make you pay for it.
I thought he was playing.
I'm going to punch you.
And he like went into a crouch and then.
Yeah. Popped you?
He did it.
Popped your boy?
Yeah.
It's no good.
It actually isn't.
How? Speaking of gut punches.
It's actually not very good.
How do we feel about Kevin Willard's exit from Maryland?
I'm shocked.
Are you?
Yeah, I said it, right? Yes,
no, but
you give me the head tilt. You look like Biggie looking at me when I won't let him eat more than he wants. No, because you're going to throw it up.
I mean, okay.
Yes, I am a little surprised.
So what part about it shocks you?
Just the outright, like you flamed the admin and the fan base on the way out. It was totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
It was totally unnecessary.
You think he was setting it up to make?
Who's falling for it though? See, that's the thing.
Sure.
It's so obvious. He's not the smartest guy. Like, we knew what he was doing.
So here's the problem though. And I think sometimes you give people the benefit of the doubt too much, just because
DB here for loving people.
Well, this isn't loving people. This is just not, I don't know what it is exactly, but just because we all know that nobody's getting fooled by this, I think we give Kevin Willard too much credit for not thinking he's the smartest guy in the room. Because I do think there's a chance he thought he was fooling people and being like, oh, if I set it up this way, or if I air my complaints about the administration, then it becomes understandable why I'm leaving. I think people get in their sort of own headspace and they get people around them that agree with them too much.
Trying to convince himself?
Yeah. Of like, oh, if I do it, and maybe it is just trying to convince himself. I was like, oh man, I've got it so bad here. Like, have you ever met anybody that, like wasn't real happy in their marriage? I mean, besides the two of us the first time around, like where they try and talk themselves into the fact that it's okay that either they're not keeping up their end of the bargain or that they're going to leave or whatever, even though they know it's not.
100%.
Like, I feel like that's what Kevin Willard's doing. He's trying to talk himself into like, oh, look, I don't have any support from the administration. I can't even keep the guys next day in New York City. We're a Big Ten team for God's sake.
And we're sure that Villanova is a good job.
Oh, I wanted to ask you that.
I'm not sure.
Because I don't know.
I'm not sure.
It's one of those jobs that we assume is.
I do think the Big East is good fiscally.
It's gonna have some advantages for at least a couple years, and I think there's some appeal there to guys like Kevin Willard that are at football first schools, even though you could probably debate it with Maryland, but I think financially they're a football first school for sure. And
well, his football coach spoke on it, which you don't hear very often.
Yeah, maybe Kevin Wilsh is not that well liked.
My man said we need to keep our business in house. Okay.
Yeah.
How about that, Kev?
Yeah.
I'll call him Kev. Don't call my Kev Kev. He's still Kevin.
Big Kev.
Kevin. He's Kevin.
You know what I mean though? Like, I do think there's going to be some advantages of being at a basketball first school over the next couple of years as the revenue sharing gets kind of figured out, because they're going to have more
Wonder how
money.
they're going to do it in those hoops first conferences.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they've got the cash, then it goes to basketball, right? I mean, for the most part, that's where it's going to go.
Yeah, good to be Creighton.
It's good to be Creighton. It's good to be. I mean, it's good to. Maybe it is good to be.
Apparently, it's good to be their baseball team too. 16-6.
Hey, they're cruising.
You know they've won 6 straight weekend series.
Have they? That's like the exact opposite of what was going on last year.
6 straight.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
This was supposed to be a transition year.
Don't tell that to them.
Yeah, I feel like laughing later this week. We may have to talk to Sindelar anyway. We'll just talk all things baseball.
Oh yeah, we can talk to Sindelar anytime.
He's a golf guy too, right?
Oh yeah, loves golf.
Yeah, then we'll talk Masters.
Big golfer.
Tell a few jokes. I'll ask him if he likes Marlboro Reds or Pall Malls.
I'm trying to remember. I think he smokes American Spirits.
Yeah, you did tell me that. That rings a bell now.
I believe so.
I've never heard of it. Shane broke it down for me once.
Yeah, they're the ones that have like the Native American on the box.
The Spirit ones, yes.
Yeah, American Spirit.
Never mind.
What'd you want me to call him?
It's too early on a Monday to be getting threatened with being fired.
What'd you want me to call him?
No, it was going to be a me thing.
Oh.
I chilled. I caught myself.
Felt like there was an Indian joke in there somewhere.
There was. There was. Being honest.
You like how I try and get it out of you still? Because I'm just curious.
You got me with the T-Rex thing. You made it inviting. I'm not doing it again this morning.
You know what it is? I'm not even trying to get you in trouble. It's if I don't think of the joke, I want to know what it is.
Oh, okay.
And like it's a curiosity thing, because that's like my joke Tourette's. If it didn't kick in,
killed the goat.
I'm like, wait, who did that? What's the funny thing that I didn't think of?
It's a lot in this head.
I consider it a professional curiosity.
I don't know. I think, if you're UConn, if you're St. John,
yeah,
if you're Creighton.
And what do you do with Georgetown?
I'm telling you, you don't believe me. Georgetown is papered up.
No, I believe you, but they're bad.
Those coaches, they have been getting paid for a long time.
I know. And from what I understand,
they have money.
And from what I understand, their NIL money's on point.
Yeah.
So why do they suck always? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
They have good players.
Yeah. They don't play good.
They got a lottery pick.
Yeah, they don't play good.
Yeah.
We thought it was the John Thompson III issue. Then
I
we
like
thought it was
Mac, too. Remember I used to talk about him? This may have been more AR-15. No, I think it was me and you, but I used to talk about this guy in the Ivy League as a freshman phenom.
Yeah.
He goes to Georgetown and he sucks. I'm like, what?
That kind of happens to almost everybody that goes to Georgetown.
But he's a better coach than that. Although, I'll say this.
You were never as big on Cooley as other people were.
I was going to say, Mac, plug your ears, AC.
You were never as big on Cooley
I think Bob wanted to fight me. I just never got into the love fest.
Yeah.
I just didn't.
Meet me at the rim.
Meet me at the rim. I think he's better than some of the guys that in that era, like when in the Cooley Providence era of the conference. I think he's better than some of the guys that got credit.
Maybe it has something to do with like Bryce Cotton or somebody against North Carolina in the tournament.
Just don't like him.
No, because I think he's a cool enough dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a weird job.
It's a weird job because we thought it was a John Thompson III issue. Then we thought it was a Patrick Ewing issue. And now it's happening to a third coach in the row where they keep getting good players and none of them play good. Like, what's happening? Like, that's a very strange job.
Dynamite. What's happening?
Well,
it was pretty good, JJ, wasn't it? I met him when he was in Omaha.
Wait, which one? I'm getting confused here. Which one's Gary Coleman? That's not that one, right?
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Wrong decade.
The dude that fell off
not
the
even
ladder?
Not even in the same decade.
That's the what you talk about, Willis?
Yes.
That's Gary Coleman?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, man. Good times is JJ.
Who's
one's taller than the other?
Who's the dino?
Significant. That's JJ.
No, but what's his name? Like, do you remember the actor's name?
Jimmy Walker.
Jimmy Walker. There you go.
Yeah. Who did he used to date that we had in studio in my former life, and I couldn't believe they were actually together? Super mean-spirited Barbie doll. Ultra right-winger. Yeah. I'm like, dang, you like brothers? Remember when she put the paper over her window when she wanted to practice what she was going to go on the air and spew?
Yeah, who was that?
No, I'm going to need you to figure this out because she's going to drive me crazy.
Wendy Williams? Nope.
No, he
was on a show.
No, Wendy Williams is light-skinned. She's pretty Anglo. And by the way, you should be on images. Do you know how to use keywords?
No.
Just Google Jimmy Walker girlfriend.
All right. I was just Googling Jimmy Walker, and I got on the Wikipedia. I got distracted.
Like, you're
Jimmy
reading a
Walker.
bunch of words. It looks like a novel. You should be seeing images just like that.
Ann Coulter?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. How you like them apples?
That's shocking.
Ooh. That's what I thought. I knew she didn't like me, so I don't like you either.
You had her in studio?
No, she wasn't on the show. She was doing something on one of the.
One of the other stations.
Yeah, we have a few of those.
I thought you meant like you had her on the show, and I was like, "How'd that interview go?"
I don't know. Although there are some people that fool you, like.
She seems authentic.
Yeah. I used to think that about like Chelsea Handler, and I was like, wait, what?
Didn't she date 50 Cent?
And T.I.
She's about that life.
That's unnecessary.
What?
She's old enough to have multiple experiences. Don't be typecasting.
I would never.
No, of course not.
I would never. That's not part of my DNA.
Of course not. Back to the Big East. Where would you slot Villanova?
As a job?
Wait a minute. Did West Virginia get a head coach before Virginia?
No, Virginia hired Ryan Odom.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Which is incredibly ironic because he's the guy that beat him.
Well, and West Virginia hired a coach in 3 days.
Yeah, they got on it. Jump on it. Jump on it. No?
That used to be a terrible wedding song.
Oh, yeah. It's still not good.
That's a
Tonto. Jump on it. Jump on it.
Okay.
I can't say Tonto anymore?
I think it's okay.
Tonto.
I think it's okay.
It's the name of a national forest. That's all I meant.
Where?
Arizona.
Oh, okay.
Apparently.
There's a lot of those in Arizona.
National forests?
Yeah.
I think more. Well, national parks. Yeah, you got the Grand Canyon. A lot going on down there. Fewer trees in the Grand Canyon.
How do you know?
I've seen pictures.
Ricola. You been there lately?
No.
You going off of National Lampoons or what?
You know me. I'm not a big traveler. Also, not really big into nature. I don't get it. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla, Hurrdat Sports Live. Coming next.
Joined now by John Cook and Harper Murray. John, tell us about the emotion throughout the reception that you got here on the court.
I was thinking I'd be really cool and just come out here and people would clap and, but man, I could feel the energy and I don't know, I got a little choked up. So it made me feel really good. And these people, look at this crowd they have tonight. This is unreal. And so just to be a part of it is really cool. And I think people appreciate the connection with Nebraska volleyball. So it was awesome.
Harper, what did it mean for you to see that for Cook and just the reception that he got?
He always says he's not going to cry, and then he always does. But it was adorable. They asked me and Bergen to walk him out, and it was really special, so I'm glad we got to do that.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
now by Bergen Reilly. Bergen, you got to take in a game today. Over 10,000 in this crowd. How special is it to see that love for volleyball translate to the pro level too?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, we feel it every night at Devaney, and I'm happy that it's spreading to pro now, and there's a lot of great opportunities in the United States. So we're really happy that it can start here in Nebraska.
Yeah, how has beach season gone for you? You guys just got off a trip from Hawaii, won 22 straight, and had a program record for wins this year.
Yeah, it was a great season for us. I think we learned a lot. We got really used to the beach and the wind and the outdoors. It's really different, and there's a lot of different rules that a lot of people don't really know about, but it was super fun, and obviously can't complain about winning 22 straight.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Wrapping up hour number 1 here on Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Don't forget, you've got those last day to get your monthly specials, the fish and chips, the Reuben, the
They need
once
to
in a
keep the
melon.
fish and chips on the menu.
I think they probably will through Lent, but I don't know. We'll talk to our people, see if we can make it happen. They are pretty legit.
Do you want me to go back there and smooth some more? You know those are my guys.
Yeah, get back there, see what's going on with the food situation.
Sending me to the kitchen.
Just hanging out. Listen, you send yourself to the kitchen.
I do, actually.
You're like, I got to get, there's too many people around here. I got to go hang out with.
It's a lot going on in there, too.
In the kitchen?
You ever just go around and just, like, look and say, oh, I could use that. Oh, I needed a tool for that. Oh, they got something for that? Look how big those spatulas are.
No, I've never looked around the kitchen and been like, man, I need some big-ass spatulas.
Have you ever looked for back there?
Always.
Turn the TV off. Turn the TV off.
No, I don't generally just go walk around kitchens and look at stuff that I want.
Do you like my guys today?
Yeah, who do we got? We got Dana.
Yeah, we have Coach Hoegerson, who
Hoegerson.
apparently is everybody's favorite now.
Yeah.
Everybody's
He
favorite.
is.
Coach Hoegerson. Can't wait till Coach Hoegerson takes the mic.
He's
You're going to get the defensive guys this week.
like on that side of the ball, not being defensive. Like,
Yeah, you're going to get Coach Butler. We'll talk this week.
yeah.
A couple of others.
I don't think we've got the same love affair with Coach Butler that we do with Dana Hoegerson.
Coach Butler's interesting.
Yeah.
I like Coach Butler because of his aptitude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coach Butler's a little closer to Glenn Thomas than he is
Pretty buttoned up.
Coach Hoegerson.
Coach Hoegerson gives you a little, honestly, and I know it's their same coaching tree and everything. He gives you a little bit of like Mike Leach, where you're just not quite sure what he's going to say.
Yeah. But he's very succinct.
Yeah.
Butler's a little bit more of a philosopher.
Yeah.
A little Glenn Thomasy.
But Dana's going to give you a couple sound bites. He's going to crack a couple jokes that you're going to like. He's going to catch to kill shorts with a stray every once in a while.
And then we have Coach Cook.
Yeah, what do those two guys have in common?
Coach Cook is the keynote speaker at Nebraska's football clinic this week.
Nice.
Should be interesting. I didn't look at the.
You guys going down as a staff?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that Friday, Saturday?
Correct.
Yeah.
I always go on Friday and just to the practice on Saturday, but I never stay. Right. So I've never been to a night session.
Oh, okay. Are you going to stay this year?
I don't know. I looked at the schedule. Coach Williams sent it to me yesterday. But I don't know. It's pretty good. It seems to be starting earlier than I thought because I have a funeral at 11.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You want to drop me off down to Lincoln? That'd be great.
No, can't do that day. On Saturday?
You can't. No, Friday.
Oh, I could maybe do a Friday.
I'm kind of serious.
Yeah. Friday I might be able to do it. Saturday I can't.
I got to get Caleb's car back. I don't want my vehicle down there.
Yeah. What's Caleb doing down there?
Limitate where it's over.
Yeah.
Need a new.
Yeah.
I've stretched this thing as
far as they'll let you.
Big gravel. Couple days.
Beg, borrow, steal.
Yeah. Yeah. But still,
no.
TK, so those are my two guys this week.
Yeah. So Dana's up there just for funsies?
No, Dana's up there because everybody loves him.
He is. People were enamored.
And
we're enamored.
And we've only gotten two weight questions since Weightgate.
Yeah.
Or whatever we're calling it. Down 9-10 pounds, man. Feel better than I ever have.
Got some people on the internet still perpetuating Weightgate. That's fine.
Are they?
Yeah.
You got to show me these people.
You showed them to me.
Wait, who?
Yesterday.
Hey, man, I was kind of having an out-of-body experience this weekend. What'd I send you?
You sent it to the group. They're still chatting about it. Some people are on the internet still chatting about it.
Shoot, I don't know.
You know? Best shave of his life, apparently.
I don't even know what I sent.
We can talk about it later.
Oh.
It's fine.
Was I mad at somebody?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good chance.
Same person you're always mad at.
You know, you should have just sent.
Oh, you talking about idiot?
Yeah.
Yeah, that dude's the worst.
What should we have sent?
Hey, I did. I didn't play it the whole way through.
Oh, yeah, he got to it.
He was just reading. I'm like, who's listening to this dude? And he can't read.
I can't read.
At least I tell you I can't read a teleprompter. I don't try to fake. Like, just take a second, digest the material, and talk like a regular person. And click.
What if you're not a regular person?
Well, he's clearly not. How about that? Now you got me gassed up again.
Coming up, we've got Sam McKewon from the Omaha World-Herald. Gets everybody gassed up. Can't wait. We'll be back. More Hurrdat Sports Live.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live. Here is the sports editor for the Omaha World-Herald, Sam McKewon.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Sam McKewon.
We're gonna throw the ball, and you just stand back there and throw it where you want to go. You know, that kind of thing.
Sam McKewon.
Are you guys going? Sure.
Now, Sam McKewon.
Kicking off hour number 2 here on Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We are joined now by Sam McKewon from the Omaha World-Herald. Sam, how are you this morning?
Pretty good, gents. How are you?
Good, hanging in there. You managing this weather? The highs, the lows, the cold, the warm, like not congested or anything, are you? We feeling okay?
I probably am congested. But I was joking with somebody yesterday at church that like we can take all the weather changes, but we have to reserve the right to complain about them. And so, like it's been a trip these last however many days. I mean, it's just been really, really interesting time, so to speak. So, I don't know.
You seem like a big echinacea B12 guy, Sam. I bet you're okay.
I'm okay. I'm not that person, but
Sam, do you hang
I'm
up
okay.
with me sometimes, and you're like, "This guy is a grade A wackadoo." It's okay.
I do know what
I'm a little different. I apologize.
I don't really know what echinacea is, so
What?
I don't know that I could vouch for it. I know what B12 is, but I don't know what echinacea is.
Okay. Noted.
I don't know what that is.
Noted.
It's an herbal supplement.
Hey,
Sam, that's all I need to know.
So,
okay,
Sam, I don't know if I saw you on. I think I saw you on the other day. What was the first thing that you saw? Because I know you like to keep it pretty even keeled.
Yeah, you were on the field. I was over on that side. Well, yes. What I'm saying is I saw you, and so you were on the field. And what did I see? I think I went down there and watched all the, initially I watched Dvorak and Butler and Phil Snow all kind of working with the linebackers. I noted that there wasn't a ton of jack linebackers this particular practice. I didn't see Maverick Noonan. Maybe he was out there and he was just with a different group. But, I didn't see a ton of jack linebackers. I saw quite a few off the ball, whatever you want to call it, linebackers. Kind of looked at the defensive line. Defensive line looks good physically. Obviously, they've got to play football. And it's not just, looking great, but they look good. And then, I watched the one-on-ones between the defensive backs and the receivers for 25 minutes. I mean, it was good to watch. It was helpful. There was a lot of elite competition between the two of them, the two groups, and you got to see, what Nebraska is excited about on both sides of the ball. And I was very impressed with the defensive backs. Very impressed. I thought they physically looked really good, and I thought the young receivers looked good too. Mills and Mosey. I thought both of them had, Mills needs to come down with the ball, and his coach told him that. But man, he's an impressive player and an impressive athlete.
Sam, let me ask you something, because you kind of did it, and I think instinctively, because how people normally react. But don't you think we should move on? And I said this last week. I'm like, I'm going to stop couching it. When you talk about body types and people looking better, we're very quick to have to put it in perspective. And I think this is just kind of a self-revelation for me. I'm kind of over having to do that, because if guys look fat and frumpy, we would hold it against them. So I think we should be able to say, hey, body types look good without having to apologize for it. Because I do think something that's in their secret sauce is definitely their nutrition and their
right.
strength staff. I clearly think that is a positive for them.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think their body types look really good. And, I think it's not just how you look, but the explosiveness of the athletes. And that's right. And so that'll be something I'm looking for as well. But yeah, they're if you took that team and exported it to the Big 12, I think you might say that team was just, that roster is maybe the best roster in the Big 12. I mean, I wouldn't have a hard time with that. I think at this point we need to be really honest about the separators. And I think Rule's a classy guy, and so he's not going to overdo it. But I think he would be like, hey, look, guys, the rosters in the Big 12 and the Big 10 are not even close to the same. Now, you got to go out and beat Cincinnati, right? Got to go do that, because that's a Big 12 football team. But they're not close. I mean, there's a vast difference. And Nebraska's roster looks really good. A lot of the other Big Ten rosters do too. There's more money in the Big Ten, and there's more, whatever you want to call it. So at this point, it's no joke.
Sam, I wonder, as you know, you've got a handful of media availabilities over the course of spring practice. Do you have do you have like an agenda? Do you have like a checklist of things you're kind of looking to see, or is it kind of based on what they're doing when they're allowing media in there? I'm always curious about that. Like, if there's do you have like you're trying to check off boxes of things you've seen this spring?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. So obviously you're going to go with what they show. And so there's a little bit of both there. You're looking for just roster, the size of guys, how they look, their body compositions, all those things. You watch coaching technique. You watch the way that the guys, teach. I thought a couple of years ago, I was watching, Knighton and his group, Potenza and others, take the defensive line through reps, and I'm like, this is going to be a pretty good group. They're coached in a way that's very aggressive and but also upbeat. There's a little bit of technique in there, but there's also pace to what they're doing. There's nobody's going real slow. So you acknowledge that, you appreciate what you're seeing. Sometimes if I'll go to practice, I'll see what Rule's doing, although not very much. I'm not there to see.
Okay, go ahead, finish. I'm sorry.
I'm not there to see what Matt Rule's doing. Because a lot of times what he does is he goes around and he helps with the position groups. But we only got 25, 30 minutes, and Matt Rule's going to talk each week for 30 minutes. And so I don't know that I can deploy a lot of my energy to what he's doing in the moment. And so that's a decision I make. Now, we have 2 or 3 people at practice, so there's usually people who are watching what he's doing. But I'm trying to look at other stuff because, again, sooner or later in a press conference, Matt Rule's going to kind of tell you things. He has a hard time telling you nothing. I think he feels like he needs to say something and be honest with people. So you can usually get a kernel of what he's thinking from the press conferences, and that's often more than you got from other people. So that's kind of what I'm doing at practice.
You know what else is interesting? See, I'm just the opposite, but now I have to think about it from your vantage point. Because last week I said to Ravi, I'm like, you know what? If I given some truth serum, I may be more interested in watching Coach Rule interact with the new staff than I am actually watching players. And this was on the heels of him kind of describing veteran leadership and the players knowing where to go, and him having to get more familiarize the coaches more. And I think one of his gifts is bringing adults along with him. He's a very good leader in that regard. I kind of would just watch him work just as a cheat sheet, right, on how to interact and deal with people. It was fascinating, and he left there was no doubt that is his, for all the people that he's employed, that is his football team. And I don't think there's any question about it.
Yeah, no question that he's, he is the head coach and that he commands a certain level of respect. But he also, again, some of the ways in which I note those things is just how he navigates the press conference and conversations we might have. He has a pretty good understanding of all the components of a college football program. And so I think he's able to communicate in a way that makes it clear what his leadership abilities are and how he sort of works with people. And certainly those things matter. I think simultaneously, you try when you can to have a player focus and try to, because those are the guys that have to go out there and do it. And that's kind of where they're at. They've reached the point, in this operation where everybody kind of knows how good they are at a bunch of different things. Now it's more of a question of going out there and doing it.
We're talking with Sam McKewon from the Omaha World-Herald. Sam, we were talking earlier about kind of the current, I would call it love affair that Nebraska fans seem to have with Dana Hoegerson. What is it about Coach Hoegerson that you think people are so enamored by at this point?
Oh, I think he's got kind of a charm to the way that he answers questions. He talks like a lot of people I know and grew up with. He shortens a lot of his sentences, and creates these sort of clever answers that are that probably mirror to some degree how a lot of people I just grew up with talk. And he's able to do that. I think that's part of his, I don't know how to put it, his gift or something. He talks in these sort of short sentences that, drops out nouns and verbs, and, he just creates there's a personality there. And I think people appreciate it. That's somebody, if you were, out and wherever in Nebraska, you'd be like, yeah, I know that guy. That's that guy, And so I think there's an appeal to that. I think his bluntness is refreshing. The ability to come in and speak out loud some of the things that we as reporters, as little as we know, were able to see last year. And certainly Damon had pointed out multiple times before Hoegerson got there. For him to be able to speak that out loud, I think was good. And honestly, he has, not that Rule doesn't have an expertise on offense, but when you've called plays for 20 to 25 years or however many years it was, you do learn something about how to talk about crispness of play and crispness of execution. That is probably not something that Rule, would know quite as much about. Because the way that Hoegerson calls the game, the way he designs the game is, we're going to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands. We're going to get the balls in the hands of our playmakers, and they need to make plays. And in order for that to happen, you have to shorten the amount of time that, first of all, you're going through the sludge of the play. And then the other thing you need to do is you need to do your job, and you got to execute right. And I think what he's able to say is, hey, guys, if we're going to move the football, somebody's got to make somebody miss. Running backs, we need to get blocks from the receivers. We need those things. And he's able to say it in a way that just kind of cuts to the chase. And I think, again, Nebraskans appreciate that approach.
So let me ask you something, Sam, because I came back after listening to the press conference, and I said this to Ravi on air, not error, AIR, damn it. I'm like, you know what? I kind of liked, it's not that you doubled down. You had a supposition. It started with us during your segment on tempo and number of plays and noticing that there was a rhythm. And I told Ravi the very next morning, I said, one of the things that I appreciated about you going back and getting either proof of concept or whatever it is, you wanted to know kind of where that was going.
Thank you.
Did that answer suffice in terms of, because I kind of knew what you were saying, even real time to me. And we talked about the number of plays. I'm like, I just don't know if they want to play like that. But then you were like, well, when they move with some pace, it was pretty good and they got into a rhythm, and it kind of forced me to think. I like the fact, is that kind of what that exchange was, where you wanted to know how close you were to how the style of play that you like, or what you think they kind of want to do?
Yeah, the latter. I think you can play a bunch of different ways. And what I would say is that Nebraska actually ranks 5th in the Big Ten in plays per game last year. So they were not. They were very slow the year before. I think they were 12th or 13th out of 14. Any guesses on who ran the fewest plays per game last season?
Michigan. In
the Big Ten? Actually, it was not. It was Purdue. They were so bad that they
never had the ball.
Right. So it was Purdue, then it was Michigan, then it was Iowa. That was the 3 at the bottom. And so anyway, they were quicker last year than I thought, and so that was good to go back and look at that. But the other thing is he didn't quite answer the question right away, and I think they're still trying to figure that out. And I think there's also, again, if you're a North Carolina basketball fan,
yeah.
So Roy Williams, if he had the athletic advantage, which he did about 97% of the time when he was the coach, not now, but when he was the coach, they moved with a pace. They moved up and down the court because they figured we're going to run for 40 minutes, or we're going to move with a certain kind of pace, and we're going to out-athlete the other team. And sooner or later, over the course of the game, they're going to wear out, and we're not, and we're going to win. Creighton kind of plays the same way. Now, sometimes Creighton plays a team like Auburn, and they can't do it because Auburn has great athletes. Michigan State tried the exact same thing yesterday, and it didn't work because Auburn is the most athletic team in the country. And so, sometimes that doesn't work. But, Nebraska will probably play 7 or 8 games next year where, pace-wise, they might be able to overwhelm their opponent. Do they want to try to do that? And how does that affect the defense? And can you slow it down when you need to against a team that might be of equal or greater strength? And those are all things that, you try to put into the soup. And they did move faster with Raiola last year. They did, I think, and I think they have to, faster than they did with Harburg and Sims, because Raiola can do more. And so I don't know. I don't know that they've completely decided yet based on the answer that I got yesterday. I think it's still a little bit up for grabs.
Sam, is there any part of you that thinks they're a little hesitant to at least publicly lean into the tempo conversation? Because at least in my head, and maybe I'm out on an island here on this one, but when I hear tempo, I often think of pass-heavy offenses. And so I wonder if there's a part of them that's sort of guarding against this idea that, hey, if we talk too much about tempo, it's going to seem like we're not going to run the football.
I couldn't tell you if that's I think they're probably just not going to, tip their hand and tell me everything. And the other thing is I could be way off. Like, it doesn't make, like, what I would do, for example, this is one thing, this is a strong opinion I have. Inside the 10, I wouldn't run tempo. I hate run. I think it doesn't work. I think more often than not, you advantage the defense when you run it inside an opponent's 10, because they don't have as much space to cover. And so reaction, when it's 3rd and goal at the 2 and you're running tempo, well, all they got to do is react. And they don't necessarily have to do a lot because you don't have time to call your fancy play. And so, I don't love it inside the 10. Teams do it all the time anyway. So it doesn't make any difference what I want or think. It's more about why do people make the choices they do, and what are they trying to accomplish? And again, you have one of the more interesting stories to me of this team and of this particular time in the Rule era is Dylan Raiola is probably the most talented quarterback Matt Rule's ever had. And so when you get a talent like that, it changes what you're able to do, and it also changes what you're going to do. And, that's a journey that Rule is, taking. Now, if we could include the NFL, then, Rule had Baker Mayfield. I think Baker Mayfield's a pretty talented quarterback, personally. But, we're talking about college. He hasn't had a player like Dylan. And so how do you adjust? And that's interesting to me because, again, you don't have Dylan forever. You have him for a short period of time, and you have to maximize that time. You probably have Dylan for 3 years. And what do you do in those 3 years? And how do you put enough on his plate so that you're maximizing his ability? Because if you maximize his ability, then you get another Dylan, his younger brother, or you get someone else who's a blue chip player, and then you can do it again. That's the story of Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma. I don't know that anybody would say that Lincoln Riley's been the greatest head coach of all time, but you know what he did? He was able to attract in a row Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, Spencer Rattler, and Caleb Williams. That's why they win games, because they had those players. It wasn't necessarily Riley's play calling brilliance, but it was his ability to get those quarterbacks, and those quarterbacks won a lot of games for him at Oklahoma and USC.
You know what? It's funny listening to you talk about this. I think part of the game within the game is making sure that you allow an uber talented guy to flourish, because he's not, I wouldn't call him a savant. That may be closer to Dayton, because I think Dayton's football IQ is at the same age is probably higher than Dylan's. But Dylan is fantastic. Listen, Sam, I'm telling you. You have to balance, because really good quarterback play can make you lazy as an OC. So I think one of the things that's going to be challenging is for Nebraska to have enough self-awareness to self-scout and to make sure you're not just enamored, but you're doing what you need to do to win games. Because sometimes they could be two different things.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's going to be interesting.
What about a good quarterback can make an offensive coordinator lazy?
Because sometimes you just you just assume he'll make a play. So scheme can get away from you where
like he'll bail you out.
Yeah. Like he'll bail you out. I saw it with Taylor Martinez. I saw it with Adrian Martinez. I've certainly seen it with like an Anthony Rizak. Let's just go inside zone. Melvin Marcus, Peter Paul, let him read it one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or it's almost like what Coach Rule said last year about if they played with 8 in the box, where he's like, we'll beat your brains in.
Mm-hmm.
Because you watch him throw the ball and you just assume that's what's going to happen. You know what I mean? But you still have to have the attention to detail along the way to make sure that you're doing what you need to do to win. That might be the best example.
I agree with that. I think that's a good point. And I actually think that I don't know that I think Rule would get or Hoegerson would get lazy.
Uh-huh.
I think, but I don't think so. I do think it's possible that they could get a little conservative.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the challenges is trying to make sure that you're putting enough on this quarterback's plate. And as it relates to Dayton, obviously Dayton has grown. He's now taller and looks definitely like a college quarterback. And he will be very interesting to track this season. Most people have kind of forgotten about him. Like they don't really think about it. Well, he's coming here, but whatever. I think he's going to be very interesting to watch this season, and I think he's probably a little bit better than his recruiting ranking, but it hasn't. Recruiting rankings today aren't probably quite. I don't know if they're quite as dialed in as they were even 5 years ago. It isn't quite as popular as it was because of the portal.
Mm. That's an interesting thought. Because there was a long time there, Sam, where, you go back like 15 years and it felt like way more of a crapshoot, and it seemed like the recruiting rankings were progressively getting better and better
Yes, I agree with you.
As it was easier to get eyeballs on guys. It's interesting that I hadn't really thought about whether or not
it would just be in the last 1 or 2 years. Yeah, and I'm not sure if that's accurate or not. I'm certainly not saying that recruiting people do.
No,
they do an incredible job.
I do think the interest has changed in high school recruiting for sure.
I think you've seen a reorientation of some of these experts to the portal.
Sure.
Like they now understand that the way that you're operating, and I'm not just talking about the excellent people that work at On3 or 247 or whatever. I'm talking about the people in the industry who are paid, paid to scout, and like really, really sharp people who people that don't have a front facing operation, but they're back behind things. I think now the new thing is to understand the portal. That's why Pat Stewart's there, is to evaluate players who have been at collegiate level for a while and to then pick and choose just the right guys. And that's an art, So that's what I'm saying is I feel like maybe, there's not quite as much, like I just said, some of the operations have shifted a little bit to the portal side of it. And so what you're doing is you're evaluating the kid who's played at South Dakota State or North Dakota State or Montana, and you're putting your scouting energy into that. Andrew Marshall, I think, is a very well-known player at this point. I think a lot of people could tell you a lot of things about it, the way he played in the Big Sky. But there may not be quite as much on, a quarterback in Florida or Georgia, just because they've committed. The schools themselves are not sure whether they want to take a high school kid. those are some of the. I mean, what's Georgia going to do going forward? Is Georgia going to keep taking 5-star quarterbacks, or are they just going to say, we'll go portal it every 2 years? We'll get a 2-year guy. We'll win a Heisman, whatever. That's going to be the challenge going forward.
Sam, let me get you out of here on this because it was huge and much needed. And I put North Carolina in the college baseball library to watch later because I was watching Nebraska yesterday afternoon. Much needed. You get the series win over a really good pitching ball club in Oregon State. You bounce back after the blowout on Saturday. Will you allow yourself to think that this could be the start of being able to get onto something good? They've been good in midweeks.
Right. I would say could. That's where I'll go. I think Creighton baseball is probably at this point a stronger top-to-bottom team than Nebraska.
We'll
so they're going to play on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could rain. So, hopefully the rain stays away long enough that they can play the game on Tuesday. But
I was telling Ravi, Creighton's won 6 weekend series in a row.
Yeah, Creighton's pretty good. And the key for Creighton, and this was true last year, is the Nebraska game on Tuesday is important. The series against UConn is more important. And that's this weekend at home. They need to win it. There's really no reason for them to not be in the Big East tournament. I'm not going to go on a rant about Big East baseball or about every sport in the Big East except men's and women's basketball. We'll save that for another day. But Nebraska has Creighton, and then they have UNO, and I think they'll be UNO. UNO's not having their best season. And then they've got, beatable Rutgers. So the question is, it isn't just like, can they win 3 out of 5? It's can they win all 5? And then can they win, 4 more next week? And like that kind of thing. They need to go on that kind of run. Our beat writer, Evan Bland, is going to have a story today about the likelihood of Nebraska getting an at-large berth in the NCAA tournament based on its current RPI profile. And I encourage people to read that. I'm not going to tell you the verdict, but people can read it. What I would say is that, that long West Coast trip, I'm sure Will Bolt will have some feedback. Evan will probably talk to him about it at some point. There needs to be some feedback about that trip and whether or not that was, the best use of anybody's time to spend that, to have 2 weekend series against Big Ten teams a week apart where it's really not feasible for you to come back. And they beat Pepperdine, and that's great. But it's not easy being away from home for 10 days. They went 1-5 in those Big Ten games, and then they went to Kansas State, and that was a pretty unfortunate loss. I mean, I think they were probably exhausted. So, and lost that game too. So, Nebraska drew the short end of the stick a little bit with the scheduling, and so now they kind of got to make up for it. I don't think there's a single team in the Big Ten that was going to go out and win 4 of 6 from UCLA and USC. I just don't. And so, it was challenging for Nebraska, and they didn't play very well. But now they got to make up for it, which means they got to win a whole bunch of games. They got to, we're talking like a run. They got to win 10 out of the next 11. Maybe they can do that. Maybe their team is good enough to do it. We'll find out.
That's Sam McKewon from Omaha World-Herald. Sam, appreciate it as always. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you. Take care.
Yeah, good. That's going to be an interesting read on the Nebraska baseball team because I think I said last week I thought they were in a place where they basically just had to try and be good by the Big Ten tournament because we'll see what Evan Bland thinks.
Impressive series, man.
No, they played great this weekend.
We could talk to EB this week if you want to get him liquid.
Yeah, talk a little Nebraska baseball.
Yeah, he's got good range too.
And you'll have Creighton and Nebraska tomorrow.
Yep.
There you go. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. More Hurrdat Sports Live coming up next.
The Mizuno and Oklahoma State softball story is a story of growth and success. After getting to visit the team this fall and watching practice and talking with Coach G, I am confident in this team this year.
The best you is really dang good. I mean, it's really good. Okay? So just be that. No more, no less.
Lightning in my fingers, and I'm nice on my feet.
Mizuno and Oklahoma State softball are built for big moments.
Brace yourself.
Joined now by Super Bowl champion Cam Jurgens. Cam, I'm sure it's been a whirlwind of the past couple months for you. How do you describe winning a Super Bowl and coming back here to Nebraska and seeing the support?
I feel like there's not really any words to describe a Super Bowl championship. It's just, kind of all the dreams and aspirations coming together. And once you get there, it's like you just kind of reset and you're just trying to do it again. It's kind of hard, but it's just something that will last forever. I'll always be Super Bowl champion. You always put that in front of my name, and it's a pretty neat accomplishment and, something people work for forever and never get to.
Would the little Cam that grew up in Pickerel, Nebraska ever believe that he'd be a Super Bowl champ?
No, I don't think so. I mean, my dream was just to be like a Cornhusker. So, I accomplished that pretty early on, and doing this, I feel like, it's a dream come true.
What's up, guys? Kenny Bell here at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. It is round 2 of Menu Madness, and I am personally voting for the Hail Varsity Burger. You can vote how you please, but be sure to come visit us this weekend. Enjoy some great food, some great basketball, and be sure to cast your vote for round 2 of Menu Madness.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Give me that cheddar, we getting Rico. Big money rolls like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla, reminding you to go check out Centris Federal Credit Union. It's centrisfcu.org. You can find everything you want to know about Centris, and the main thing you need to know is that there is such a thing as the credit union difference. It's about people helping people through the power of community. Credit unions are focused on you, and that's what makes the difference. Make sure you go check them out, Centris Federal Credit Union. No matter what your financial needs are, they've got you covered at centrisfcu.org, federally insured by NCUA. I'm thinking baseball here. We've got Nebraska Creighton tomorrow. See if we can talk to Evan Bland I'm also thinking about torpedo bats.
Oh, I know.
And how
I went down that rabbit hole yesterday. Well, I mean, I guess everybody did with all the stuff on Twitter.
Yeah. So you know what's kind of funny to me is
why your barrel isn't bigger.
Every.
I meant as a Red Sox fan, you guys.
Yeah, I think Devers might need some help.
So I'm gonna give him some grace.
So I was gonna say,
I mean, the guy took one for the team.
We're gonna bring up the DH thing.
Yeah,
because it's different.
He told you he wanted to play third base.
Yeah, and I do think there's some guys.
And his coach nipped that in a bunda. Almost the next day.
Hey, by the way, was the torpedo bat thing real? Because I saw that and I almost thought that was an AI thing.
No, those are real.
No, that's real.
Those are
oh
real.
my gosh.
Yeah, the guy got in the lab, man, with the barrel size and how people just don't.
So, two things there. We'll start with Devers because you brought him up. I do think I do think people underestimate the difference of focus of playing in the field and kind of being in the game versus being a DH where you just sit for like an hour at a time. So that's one thing. And so somebody brought up Devers in the chat, and he's like, maybe he needs one of them torpedo bats. And yeah, maybe he does. Maybe everybody will have one in a year
in our
from now.
chat?
Yeah.
Dang, they getting at you already?
But it's 1-3. It's not a great start. I'm not a huge fan.
Right.
Yeah. But the funny thing about baseball, because when you hear the explanation for the torpedo bat, right, it's just like, well, we thought we'd put the thickest part of the barrel where you make contact the most. And it's like, well, duh. Like, is that not the most? Like,
but did you read his research?
Yeah.
He was underwhelmed at how few of bats actually, not to go off Steven, but actually take advantage of bigger barrels, maximizing. Because everybody has you have the specs.
Yeah, what you can be. It's like 2.6 inch diameter. Like everybody's got the exact same specs.
And
so as long as they meet that, you can do whatever you want.
People just don't maximize. And so all I was thinking about yesterday is, man, it's going to give new meaning to the term barreling it up.
Yeah.
Right? You're getting all of the barrel that you can.
Yeah.
And you saw their act, New York. I mean, 3 pitches, 3 home runs.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to reconsider yet because I don't know if I believe in their pitching. And the Brewers were and I said this a year ago, so feel free to make fun of me. And all they did was go to the playoffs.
That's all they can do, though. They're well for the regular season.
Brewers are the most prime candidate for regression.
Sure.
The most.
Yeah.
But it was they were literally playing softball.
Oh, yeah.
But now the Yankees have a lefty in Bellinger who apparently, much like Vinny Testaverde for in a short stretch and Jameis Winston, when they get their eyes fixed, they're all of a sudden. But I've never hated on Bellinger, even though, I mean, I liked Bellinger when he was
back when he was with your squad.
Yep. And he will kill that porch.
Oh, the short porch.
Yes.
Yeah. There's some guys who are just built for it, right?
And he's not, and it's early. He's not swinging and missing either. So
that helps.
Yeah.
It does
help. Just bing, bing, bing. I'm like, wow.
It's
nice lineup, and they don't even have Mike. And I don't know if Mike's going to be good anymore.
Yeah.
Wait, is he Mike or Giancarlo? He's Giancarlo.
Yeah, Giancarlo.
Yeah.
Who I low-key kind of like, even though he's hurt too much.
Who?
Stan.
Yeah.
I've always sort of been enamored with him.
Yeah, because you like those barrel-chested muscle heads.
I love exit velo. And that dude smokes the ball.
So that's why I thought Nebraska baseball was going to be on to something against K-State.
Yeah.
Because they had hit like 3 or 4 balls over 104.
Yeah, they were just hitting rockets.
And I was like, okay, starting to wake up a little bit.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I get it. That's why you like De La Cruz, right?
Oh, yeah. De La Cruz, O'Neal Cruz. I don't even hate Aaron Judge. Like, guys that just barrel it up and hit rockets, enamored with.
I just don't think there's any really – I don't think there's a great team in the AL.
It might not be.
I mean, who's the candidate?
I mean, right now you probably look at the Yankees, but again, you don't like the pitching, which I understand. No, Garrett Cole kills them. Like that's a
and Boone's still their manager, right?
Yeah, as far as I know. I don't trust the Blue Jays. Nobody in the Central blows me away.
Who was your pick to win the AL East?
I mean, I went Red Sox. I'm a homer, and I don't think
I like the Orioles.
Yeah,
Rutschman's back healthy.
Yeah, I think last year scared me off a little bit. Felt like they regressed a little bit,
and he was hurt.
Yeah. So, but I liked the move. I actually, for as much as I've hated on the Red Sox for the last 6 years, justifiably so.
Pitching should have been better this weekend.
Yeah, I actually thought they did a good job this offseason.
The Rangers are
good.
They're legit.
And what's it, 3-2 yesterday and 4-3 the day before?
Yeah.
Like, the pitching didn't let them down, right? So I don't have a huge issue there. I think the bats will come around. I think the depth of the lineup is good enough. And, at some point they maybe bring up some of the young kids that were mashing in spring training a little bit as well. But
you're going to tinker with your middle infield?
Yeah, if they're better, just do it. Like
I think that's got to be the key reason for Rafael DHing, right?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
You don't have to move 2 now. If what happens at second base you think is going to happen.
Yeah, so I think that's either good. Honestly, and you might have 2 guys coming up because they like Marcelo Meyer and then they like Christian Campbell as well. And listen, I'll take both those dudes. Just bring them on up.
What do you think the Rangers can get out of DeGrom?
I don't know.
Me neither.
It feels like a long time since he's been Jacob DeGrom. Like it's just been a long time since he's been that guy. But when he was that guy, he was,
Is that Aaliyah? Been a long time. I should have left you without a dope beat to step to. What would you do?
I don't know.
Something. You're probably just not the guy that I should be asking. I'm pretty sure.
It's a little out of my wheelhouse.
Sierra.
Not a big Aaliyah guy.
No, I wasn't either.
Yeah.
I wasn't either.
Wasn't into like all the
She
A's,
was okay.
like Aaliyah and Ashanti and whoever. Like
Ashanti used to be incredible.
Like I'm okay.
Did not too many docs.
Yeah.
Did not age well. She used to be.
Is Ashanti the one that's in Coach Carter?
Yes, the girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah, she was a cutie pie.
Sure. Yeah. I got you.
Not just doing too much.
It happens,
Yeah.
Some people are terrified of aging. They make it worse.
Out on the A's, were you an Alicia Keys guy?
I like Alicia Keys.
Yeah,
It's kind of more in my wheelhouse of
incredible
stylistically.
Sierra.
Sierra's okay.
Incredible.
There's some Sierra songs I like a lot.
You're not holding Russ against her, are you? I don't know how he pulled that.
I mean, I am now.
I don't know how. Google.
No, I know.
I don't know how he did it.
I know.
Because she has her own bread. So
yeah, I don't know. She doesn't need his.
Man.
Okay, I just can't imagine being around that guy that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he and James thought it'd be a lot of fun.
Please send Hard Knocks to the Giants.
And I mean, Stefanski's got to lose his mind, doesn't he? Like, what are they going to talk about?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's got to be incredible.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just let them run the quarterback meeting, I guess. Both of them.
Just gonna have a good time.
Just banter back and forth.
Because Russ will be like out there doing.
And I said Stefanski. He's in New York. I met the guy that you've been trying to run out, Dable.
I mean, is he good? Is he good?
I know you think I'm crazy. I don't think they'll do it. But if you're a Giants fan, is it plausible that they're doing this 1-year deal with these quarterbacks because they still could draft Shador?
Yeah. No, I really do. I think that's on the table, 100%.
I
think that's 100% plausible. Because Shador probably needs a year.
I haven't seen any real legitimate mocks lately with him in the top 10.
Yeah, there's so it depends.
If you have one,
it depends on what you consider legitimate. Kuiper's last one, and I know you're not a Mel Kiper guy, but he is one of the biggest names in the space. He's got 3 quarterbacks in the top 10, and it's in the top 9 actually. It's Shador, it's Cam, Shador, and then Dart at 9.
Yeah, Dart's the mover.
He's darting up draft boards, if you will.
What did Severe say the other day? He said, and it was his delivery that made it funny. He goes, "Yeah, I don't think he's very smart."
He might not be very smart.
Just like, how do you know? But yeah, I don't even know how we got on that conversation of the quarterbacks.
Yeah, I don't either. But he did make a good point in that
coming from baseball, and do we trust Jacob DeGrom?
No, I don't even know. Oh, we were talking about.
Then we got into
Sierra.
actresses and singers.
Sierra.
Wow, just land the Boeing, would you?
No, it's all right. No, that's the Jets. They've got Justin Fields named their starter.
He got paid though. That's a good deal for him.
Yeah, was it 2 years, 20?
Yeah, 5.
Or 2 years.
And he got the guaranteed scratch too.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not out on Justin Fields.
I'm not either.
I think there's a version of Justin Fields that works. And if you're willing to do it, it kind of, and I know this is blasphemy now considering what Lamar's become, but I think there were similar conversations about Lamar coming out where you're going to kind of have to build your system around that guy rather than try and fit that guy into your system. That's the best thing the Ravens probably have ever done is be like, hey, we've got
just commit to the style.
Yeah, commit stylistically. They brought in Greg Roman, who was really good with Kaepernick, and sort of
as a Niner in Harbaugh.
Yeah, and committed to this is our guy. We're going to go all in on this guy's skill set. You see it with basketball teams a lot too, right? Where they bring in a guy and it's like, hey, that guy's only good if you let him be him, right? You can't. This is not a plug and play guy. This is not a hey, he'll fit in our system guy. This is a let this guy cook. Those are guys that Creighton doesn't usually recruit, right? Because they want them to kind of fit a certain mold.
Does their portal surprise you?
Not right now. Although I did want to talk about Nebraska and Creighton and kind of
the juxtaposed position
philosophically how to approach the portal, because you and I think it was in the group chat, we were having this conversation about what to do if you're Creighton.
the Dix?
Yeah, about Josh Dix, right?
Yeah.
Because
that was us.
I do think it's super interesting.
Very stark contrast from Matty D and young Jakob.
Yeah. Yeah, in terms of how they felt about him.
I was on Jacob's side though.
Yeah. A little more dynamic than he gets credit for.
Dix?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's incredibly efficient.
Yeah.
No,
not as because
he's going to cost a ton, and
sure.
I think that's why it's KU, Creighton, and Kentucky.
Yeah.
But
I don't know anything.
Well, he spent 2 days in Lawrence.
If I had to guess, it's either KU or Creighton.
And I think Creighton went to go see him.
I think Kentucky's too far away.
I agree with Mom. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's KU or Creighton.
Yeah.
Although Kentucky can write the biggest check probably.
Yes. And that money can go a long way with what his personal life.
100%. And I don't think the offers are going to be so different that that's the deciding factor, but I don't know. Like, I think KU and Creighton will both make competitive offers compared to whatever Kentucky's offering.
And you're happy with Freeman?
Oh, I think it's great. I think he's a great fit. I know.
Hands should be good to go.
I think some Iowa fans are kind of
poo-pooing him on the way out.
Sour grapes.
Yeah, and I don't. Yeah,
I'm not worried about it. Also, Mac's pretty good at that. Yeah. I've questioned some of the decisions.
You trust that guy?
Yeah, I mean,
I do too.
I've I've questioned some of the decision making on personality types before, and it's always been okay. So
he's
got a knack. He's got a very good sense.
You could make the case.
Yeah,
he's the best. Certainly one of the best in the country.
Yeah,
with portal additions.
Oh, 100%. I mean,
in the country.
We could go through the list, and we don't have to. But I love the Owen Freeman addition. But I do want to get into this conversation when we come back about getting roster fit needs versus best available, because that's where Josh Dix came up in my mind with Creighton. Don't know if positionally he's a huge need, but he definitely is the best guy available to them right now. Yeah. That's DBM Ravi, Lulla, more Hurrdat Sports Live coming up next.
Joined now by John Cook and Harper Murray. John, tell us about the emotion throughout the reception that you got here on the court.
I was thinking I'd be really cool and just come out here and people would clap and, but man, I could feel the energy and I don't know, I got a little choked up. So it made me feel really good. And these people, I mean, look at this crowd they have tonight. This is unreal. And so just to be a part of it is really cool. And I think people appreciate the connection with Nebraska volleyball. So it was awesome.
Harper, what did it mean for you to see that for Cook and just the reception that he got?
He always says he's not going to cry, and then he always does. But it was adorable. They asked me and Bergen to walk him out, and it was really special, so I'm glad we got to do that.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DBM Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Don't forget, Menu Madness continues here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Come check out some of the most popular food items on the menu. Vote, get a chance to win some prizes, get discounts off of great food as well. Come on in to Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Check that out. We were talking about roster construction with Creighton and Nebraska. Little news from Joe Tipton as well. Nick Graves from Charlotte is visiting Creighton today and tomorrow. He is a point guard, 6'3", which I like. You know, I like a little bit bigger guard, and averaged almost 18 points a game last year. So that would be a big get for Creighton. But we were talking about Josh Dix earlier, and it kind of brought up, you know, because if you're, as you said, Josh Dix is going to be expensive. He's one of the most attractive portal options in the country. And so I kind of got into this, and I know Creighton's more papered up than people think, but I kind of get into this conversation about
that, right?
At some point there is a limit, right? So are you going to go spend X number of dollars on Josh Dix and then still go get a point guard? I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe they aren't. I know Owen Freeman wasn't cheap either. And so I go, okay, if I'm looking at Creighton and I say, hey, I can spend one more, we'll call it a max contract spot for lack of a better term, right? I can spend one more max contract spot. Do I go best available player with a guy like Josh Dix, or do I go position of need at a point guard spot? Because I want to be consistent here, and I found myself sort of drifting away from the argument. Because with Nebraska, part of what I bemoaned about their portal strategy is it didn't seem like they really were putting rosters together that made sense. And with Creighton, I'm like, I think you kind of just take Josh Dix and figure it out. So those two things are opposites.
I'll bail you out why, if I were going to think like that, what the catalyst would be.
It's because I know what Creighton's trying to do offense or as a basketball team.
100%.
Right?
Yeah. You just trust what the picture's supposed to look like.
100%.
Yeah.
And so if Max says, hey, I can make these guys fit the picture, or I can change the picture just enough to fit these guys' skill sets.
Yeah, and look how he's pointing in folks' face that thought he had too many fours, right?
Yeah.
So
100%.
It worked out just fine.
And I didn't really have an issue with it. I was like, well, you can move Jason to 3 and Jackson can do this. And they haven't really done this yet. I still think Isaac Trout can play small ball 5 in certain situations if you need him to.
Shane, have we checked on Kim this morning? Because I think we need to check on Kim.
For Mason?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Mason ironically sort of helped him out in terms of just
yes, it did.
The rotation is just, now it is what it is, right? With congrats to Mason going to Murray State with his uncle Ryan. And honestly, I was a big Mason Miller guy
it's a good fit
a long time. I hope he does well. I hope whatever happened this year at Creighton, he's able to sort through that and be successful again, because there was I was as big of a Mason Miller fan as there was up until this year. I was like, I don't think you can play that guy anymore. But I do, as I'm sitting here, and obviously Nebraska still has basketball to play, which feels weird.
Yeah, tonight.
But
as a 5.5-point fave.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with that because I don't think Arizona State's any good.
Who's Arizona State playing tonight?
I don't know.
No, I'm dead serious.
I know.
How many guys are going to be on that bench?
I don't know.
9?
Max? 9?
Well, and only 7 of them are on scholarship.
Yeah.
Scholarship.
Maybe you got a couple managers get a suit up tonight.
Hey, Shane, what movie was that about this guy dribbling randomly in the gym saying he was going to get a scholarship?
I got nothing.
I can't remember.
3, 2, 1.
Coach Carter.
Damn it, Bender.
Breakfast Club.
That would be the Breakfast Club.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I probably haven't seen that in
Listen, he dribbled the basketball like he had never dribbled a basketball day.
25 years.
I mean, the jump power dribble.
Did he look like Stanley in The Office dribbling?
No, he looked like he was having.
He had a flannel tied around his waist with a leather jacket.
It looked like he was having.
But
it looked
outside
like
that. He looked like a hooper.
A little tricky.
It looked like he was having a banner day in the Bender household there.
Yeah. Smoke him up. This is what you get. Never mind.
That's what you get.
That movie is very good.
You big Breakfast Club guy?
Yes.
I don't know that I would have pegged that.
Yeah, it's a big Breakfast Club guy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Which one was your favorite?
Team Ali Sheedy over Molly Ringwald.
That's fair.
It's anti-red.
Weird. Thought you were a Nebraska fan. Huh.
Just don't tan right. Anywho.
That's why everybody thinks you're an Iowa fan. You're anti-red.
Yeah, love the black and gold and the Cyhawk and the short drive. What?
Oh, no, you're talking
Considering I'm half Iowegian.
Just talking about Sierra again.
She is fine. Don't you forget it.
I could never. Although, you know how I said the thing about was this on? I can't remember if this on.
Oh, Lord.
So, I'm like, I really like the Jeep Wagoneers, right?
Yeah.
Like I got geeked out and we got to drive one to Indy and stuff.
Yeah, it was on there. You're off because Russ drives.
Because I saw Russ drive one. Yeah. That's kind of how I feel about Sierra.
It's so you.
I'm so petty.
I mean, I'm glad you listen.
I'm aware.
The more you know.
I'm aware that people don't think I'm very self-aware. I got some self-awareness about my ridiculousness.
You should be thanking your lucky stars. I'm not near as immature as I'm capable of being.
Why?
Because how we're talking about quarterbacks and stuff like this. Do you know, as if Jalen Milroe wasn't bad enough?
Okay.
This is as bad as it gets.
Okay, I'm listening.
So, Barnwell tweeted out earlier how the Steelers could be in play for,
drum roll please,
the worst quarterback in the AFC.
The worst quarterback in the AFC is, it's not Jameis anymore. He's in the NFC and he's signed.
The worst quarterback in the AFC.
Who are we talking about?
Anthony Richardson.
Oh, God.
You talk about questioning my fanhood.
I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry.
What are we doing?
Honestly, I'd rather sign Aaron Rodgers. I know, but I hate Aaron Rodgers. Like if the 49ers were in a spot where
I almost took that with me to the show today. But I'm like, you know what? I'm just not going to allow somebody else to control my mood.
Anthony Richardson.
I'm glad you find humor in that.
I know, it's horrifying.
Yeah.
I feel bad for you. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Ricky O'Donnell from SB Nation. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla, Hurrdat Sports Live.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
3, Duke 1. Now Proctor. Looking from Knowles, who delivers one. Back for Broom.
heaven for Houston. The Cougars advance to their 7th Final Four and hoping this trip brings them their first title.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DBM Ravi Lulla. We're joined now by Ricky O'Donnell, writer and editor for SB Nation. Ricky, how are you this morning?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Ricky, I started out with a hot take this morning. I kind of don't know where you're at with it. I said, in my opinion, Auburn is the most explosive, the most capable of maybe blowing an opponent's doors off. Florida has the most versatility. Duke is the most complete, but Houston understands and embraces their identity the best. Fair, foul, somewhere in the middle, too simplistic.
Yeah, I like that for sure. And there's no question about Houston just having such a solidified team identity. It seems like every Kelvin Sampson team plays the exact same way. I do think there's a case that this could be his best team with the Cougars yet. Obviously, they made the Final Four in 2021 with Quentin Grimes, who's become a really good NBA player lately. But this Houston team's got talent, too. And the thing that jumps out to me is like, yes, Houston's number one in defense again. Yes, they're going to play at a very slow tempo again. But they actually have shooters this time. They're nearly 40% from three as a team. I think the perimeter trio of Emmanuel Sharp, Milos Uzan, and LJ Cryer is just very solid for them. And then the bigs are just outstanding defensively. JoJo Tugler is incredible with his length. I feel like Juwan Roberts, you just can't move that guy in the paint. He just takes up so much room inside. So I like that the entirety of that comparison. And yeah, Houston's identity is ironclad. I can't wait to see them against Duke. Number one defense versus number one offense. That's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, and in my opinion, I felt like, and I started with Duke in Houston, and it's not because I picked Houston to win it, but I love the interior matchup primarily because what you said. The Flag will have his hands full because he almost has an athletic peer and somebody almost that loves to run and can rim protect, that will guard him. They can switch 1 through 5. They can switch 1 through 4. Houston interior is just busy. I like the fact that they're good with their mid-range game too. Which one of those things will manifest itself first if Houston's going to be able to pull the upset? The mid-range game or their interior presence and how they can guard?
Yeah, I definitely think the interior presence is going to be huge. What's interesting to me when I watch Houston is that they hedge ball screens more aggressively than just about any team you're ever going to see.
They're like 30 feet from the hoop.
Exactly. And like Braden Smith, if Purdue was able to handle that, he might be the best point guard in the country. So low to the ground, such a skilled ball handler. Okay, Duke doesn't really have that like next level point guard. Like they give their playmaking to Flag, to Con Knippel, sometimes Proctor, but Proctor's really at his best as a spot-up shooter. So, like, how are Flag and Knippel going to handle these super aggressive ball screen coverages from Houston coming at you with length and athleticism? They've never seen that before in their careers. They're going to get it in the biggest game of their life in the Final Four. I think that's going to be such a good window into both Flag and Knippel, and to see, like, the way to beat that is just to rotate the ball, make enough passes to hit the shooters in the corner. Purdue was able to do that a bit because Braden Smith was so good, but, you know, I'm interested to see if Flag and Knippel are up to that. And then I think for Malawak, it's an interesting test, too, because how many guys actually have the length to match Malawak on the inside? It's basically no one. But JoJo Tugler is like a 7'6" wingspan or something. He's not 7'2" the way Malawak is, but his arms go forever. He can jump out of the gym. So I think that's going to be a fascinating interior matchup, too. Can Malawak score from the mid-range? Can he do something more than flush home alley-oops? I honestly think he has more to his game than Duke has let him shown this year, but his role has been very defined, and obviously it's been successful with this two-man game partnership with Knippel and Flag. So that interior matchup is going to be really fun, and can't wait to see how the Duke freshmen handle that ball pressure from Houston.
Ricky, were you surprised at all that Duke opened up as a 4.5-point favorite? Like, talking to DB earlier and to you now, like, it feels like that matchup is pretty intriguing, and I would anticipate it being a very close game. Like, I was a little surprised that the number was so big early.
Not surprised, just because I feel like Duke's best game is much better than anyone else's best game left in this field, and that's why I've consistently picked them to win the tournament since before the bracket. And as I've been ranking the teams each round, I always put Duke number one. I just feel like if they play their best game, their level is higher than anyone else's. And we've seen Duke win the national championship with freshmen before. I was in the gym in 2015 when Julia Okafor, Tyus Jones, Justice Winslow, and Grayson Allen led them to the national title. I feel like this group of freshmen is probably better, honestly. Flag is just like such a next-level prospect. I think Malawak's incredible, and Knippel's really the forgotten guy. Like, he's so overqualified as a third option. Absolutely elite shooter. The guy never misses a free throw. And can just, run pick and roll too, hit Malawak on these lobs. Really interesting team. I think Duke's the best team in the country. So I think Houston can beat them for sure. But if Duke plays its best game, no one's touching them. So I think the line makes sense. Now the question is, can Houston drag them into the mud, make this an ugly game, and prevent Duke from getting to that highest level?
Two things in that. Knippel's footwork is incredible. How he cheats and beats angles. He's a crafty ball handler, and he always makes like those winning plays. I agree with you. I probably would have leaned more towards Sion James as the underrated, unheralded guy, because Knippel does get some run, but I agree, especially as not an elite level ball handler. He finds this weird way, Knippel does, to take pressure off of not having an elite level point guard.
Yeah, he's so beefy, right? He's like 6'7", 220, 225.
He's a big guy, yeah.
I would say he's not exactly an elite run and jump athlete by any stretch, but it's still hard to get around him.
Yeah, he's crafty.
So he's crafty, like you said. Yeah, he's got pretty good ball handling ability for a 6'7", 18-year-old or whatever he is. And man, to have Sion James and Proctor as your fourth and fifth options, that's how you know your team's loaded, because those guys are being starting roll. For most teams, and at Duke, they're the fourth and fifth guys, and they got good guys coming off the bench. So, yeah, really like Knippel. To me, he's a lottery pick in the NBA, obviously. And Malawak, I would take as high as 3, I think, in the NBA. He's really enticing long-term to me, at least.
I love Malawak.
So we'll see what Duke could do, but they definitely got the horses, that's for sure.
I'm trying to make the case this morning for as much love, and, Ricky, this is a guy that was loving Florida in January, especially after they beat Carolina, and they weren't even healthy yet. I'll make the case. Are you buying it that for what people think they are, as versatile as they are, as flexible as they are, that of the 4, they've played the worst basketball in the total number of minutes they've played relative to what they're capable of? Are you buying that discussion?
Yeah, I'm buying that, because coming out of the SEC tournament, it's like, wow, no one's going to touch this team. They just looked unstoppable in the SEC tournament. And then they were on the ropes against a very mediocre UConn team, needed Walter Clayton Jr. to save them with multiple daggers at the end of the game. Same thing happened with Texas Tech. They absolutely should have lost.
Right, they're kicking themselves over that. Gimme. Wow.
But, March comes down to guards, as you guys know, and Florida's got the best guard in the field. Walter Clayton Jr. is incredible. How did this guy only end up at Iona? I know it was Rick Pitino back in the day, but he is just a total stud. His combination of size, shot making, poise, just unbelievable. That shot he hit against Texas Tech, where he was in the paint, he dribbled it back out and just hit a fadeaway 3. I'm like, what? This is March Madness forever hero type stuff from Walter Clayton. So, and then, am I pronouncing this right? Thomas Howe is the other guy who. He was really good. Florida's just got so many weapons. This dude, Thomas,
where he come? He had led him in scoring all year.
6'9" athletic sophomore though, and he's skilled and 35% 3-point shooter. He's going to be an NBA player too, I would say. So Florida's just got guys. They have Clayton, Elijah Martin, and Will Richard as your guards, and then amazing front court depth. That's a pretty damn good formula. And you got to credit Todd Golden, because there's been a couple times where I'm like, oh, Florida's going to lose this game because of coaching. And they pulled it out every time. So they haven't played their best game yet in March. Yet they're in the Final Four. Seems like a good sign. I think they're going to beat Auburn, but I don't feel confident in it. I think that's going to be an amazing game. And, we'll see how healthy Broome is after he kind of got hurt at the end of the Elite Eight game there.
No, so Auburn is the team that, when they're going, they're kind of wow. And they're familiar with Florida, obviously. Why do you think, or what happened, Ricky, where I get losing the 3 of the last 4, but it seemed like the last quarter of the season, we kind of fell out of love with Auburn, And even Pearl was like, well, look at who we've lost to. Like these are good teams. And even going into this tournament, they weren't as disrespected as Houston. A lot of people liked Auburn. But for a while there, when they were going, a lot of people thought that they were the best team in college basketball.
Yeah, Auburn, obviously they're phenomenal. Janai Broome is so good as an interior scorer. I almost think sometimes they're a little too reliant on Broome. You saw it in the Sweet 16 matchup a bit against Michigan when he couldn't overpower their front line. I was like, all right, guys, you got other weapons here. You can't just pound the ball into Broome in the post. Obviously, against Michigan State, their bigs are pretty mediocre. Broome was able to go through them like air. He had an incredible game to push them into the Final Four. But what makes Auburn interesting to me is just the variety of weapons they have. Yeah. Tahad Pettiford gives me Kemba Walker vibes at times with his ability to create space off the dribble, splash shots. He's so dynamic as a freshman guard. Then you got the two wings, Miles Kelly and Chad Baker-Mazara. To me, when Auburn's playing its best game, the wings are sort of the barometer of that. They are knocking down shots, stretching the floor, and being disruptive defensively with their length. That Cardwell is going to give you elite interior defense. Yeah. Chaney Johnson's a great glue guy. I feel like it comes down to Kelly and Chad Baker-Mazara knocking down shots, and then, Denver Jones or Pettiford have to be on too. So Auburn just has a lot of different ways they can beat you. It's easy to fall back on, okay, let's pound it into Broome in the post because Broome's one of our best players, but their offense is more dynamic than that when they're at their best. And, I think they're going to need everyone to step up to beat Florida, and what a great game that's going to be.
I hate to just bottom line it as toughness, but if Auburn goes back and looks at the I don't know, whatever it was, 90-81 loss to Florida a few weeks ago, I think the presence in the paint, Florida has more versatility because they have so many bigs that they can run out there, but is there a toughness component? I mean, you talked about the wings. Baker-Mazara, he's kind of a bully, a little bit of a bad boy. And I get Florida has Martin. It seems like Auburn has more of those guys. With a team that likes to play with so much pace, could that even be a thing?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Florida's bigs are great, but they're not overpowering. They're kind of finesse bigs in a sense. So, I mean, Auburn can just put you in the basket. Cardwell is incredible in terms of his defensive interior rim protection. And Janai Broome is just a throwback 90s NBA power forward who's going to hit you with shoulders and create space that way. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Carlos Boozer or someone like that from 20 years ago. I feel like he just has a throwback game, but is also a great passer and has some skill in some unique ways. So yeah, Auburn definitely seems like the tougher team. They're just bigger and stronger inside than Florida. Pettiford, I think at his best, Pettiford can match Clayton shot for shot. Going to be a fascinating game. It seemed like Auburn just flipped the switch in the second half against Michigan.
Yeah, their spurt ability is incredible because of their pace. It looks frenetic.
Yeah, absolutely. And that since that happened, it feels like they've been on top of their game since that comeback against Michigan in the Sweet 16. So we'll see. I mean, two great teams. This Final Four just delivered. We didn't get the Cinderellas this year, but we're left with the four best teams. It's going to be really fun to watch.
I have to take advantage of your expertise. A little off the grid on the national level as we talk coaches. It's 2025, and West Virginia and Virginia, two of the last teams to fill their vacancies. Just the lack of the cost of doing business, or when you look at the landscape of college basketball, just not surprised.
Yeah, Virginia hired the VCU coach, right?
Yeah.
Brian
Odom. Yep.
Then I don't know what's up with West Virginia. You stumped me on that one.
Well, they went internal with, and I can't remember his name. It's his second year guy at West Virginia, but it's just
Ross Hodge.
Hodge, yeah. They've always been better programs, but they were so late in the game. And I get DeVries didn't leave until, a couple of weeks ago, but it shifted right before our very eyes, right? Remember, those used to be really good jobs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm fascinated to see, Tony Bennett retired for a reason at Virginia, right? It's because he didn't think he needed the NIL money, and he didn't think he could be able to play the transfer portal game at Virginia, when he was so good building up those teams 5-6 years ago. So can Odom do that? Is he going to get more NIL money than Bennett had? Why wouldn't the donors step up for a legend like Tony Bennett in that sense, if it's going to happen a couple of years later. So very interested in Virginia. I mean, Virginia should be a top 4 program in the ACC every year, with Duke, Carolina, probably Louisville there too. But, when they're down, the ACC's down, it feels like. So very interested to see what the future of Virginia looks like.
Yeah, I do wonder about Tony Bennett in Virginia because
maybe stylistically they didn't want to invest.
Yeah, well, I also wonder how much of it was the donors didn't want to invest in him, or he just didn't want to coach basketball that way. Because I do think there's two sides to that.
And
coin,
on his
right?
way out the door, it didn't seem like he wanted to coach basketball that way.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, maybe the donors were in, and he just didn't want to play the game.
For sure. Yeah, but 55 years old, walking away. Obviously, it's been a trend we've seen with a lot of these coaches. And yet, here's Rick Barnes and Tom Izzo. I think, Barnes is 70. I think Izzo's around 70. And both those guys still, grinding away in the Elite Eight. It is a tough time to be a coach in college, but, the money's pretty good, so we're not going to complain too much more.
Yeah,
yes, it is.
I think I heard somebody say anytime you got 2 commas in your salary, you're doing okay. Yeah. No, so I speaking of coaches here, we were talking earlier about obviously the Kevin Willard situation going from Maryland to Villanova, and not in the classiest of manners, I guess would be a nice way to put it. I wonder, though, how good of a job leaving Maryland, how good of a job do you view Villanova as? Because we couldn't really land on what we thought about the Villanova job.
Yeah, I totally agree. I have no idea. It's so hard to follow Jay Wright, obviously. So Kyle Neptune, had a tough gig from the moment he got there. They actually had some pretty decent players this year at Villanova, but their defense was just terrible the whole year, and they could just never put it together. Too many bad losses early in the season. So I think you're right. Is Villanova even a better job than Maryland? Is a really interesting question. Would you rather be in the Big Ten or the Big East? I guess Villanova, with this revenue sharing coming up, doesn't have to split their money with football. And I'm not 100% sure on how the revenue sharing is going to affect all these programs in terms of the NIL money at their disposal. But not having to split it with football seems pretty appealing to me. So I wonder if that played a role in Willard's part. And Willard certainly cashed in at the right time, right? Classic riding a hot March Madness run into a different job. So, we'll see how it works out. I'm not super confident that Villanova is a better job than Maryland at this stage, but we'll see.
Let's go to the Big Ten before I get to Patino's squared in the Big East. Who landed, in your opinion, the better coach given the school? DeVries at Indiana or McCollum at Iowa?
Yeah, I like McCollum. I'm really intrigued by McCollum. I mean, his success track record at the D2 level speaks for itself. The fact that he was able to just take Bennett Sturts and turn him into, potentially a first-round pick is really just fascinating. Drake, and to me, it just comes down to Sturts. Sturts is so good; he's going to be one of the best returning guards in college hoops next year. Mm-hmm. But honestly, he should get looks at the NBA, especially if the NIL money is keeping a lot of the other veterans in college hoops. Somebody like Sturts, late first, early second round pick, I think he deserves consideration at that level. If he comes back to Iowa, I like McCollum and Sturts better than anything DeVries can do.
I got to see him play 39, 40 minutes in the Big Ten, though. His elite level stamina for what he did at Drake was, they talk about two-way guys in football. He was incredible.
He played 98.8% of the available minutes this year. Bennett Sturts, for Drake, that's crazy. He never came off the floor the entire season. But I'm totally sold on Sturts. I don't know. He doesn't look like he's 6'4" out there, but he's pretty athletic too. I hate to say sneaky athletic, but he had more dunks. He had more dunks than Dylan Harper this year. He was just the number 2 pick in the draft. So, yeah, I'm a believer in Sturts. I think McCollum just knows how to push the right buttons. Indiana should always be better than Iowa at basketball. Yeah. That should not even be a debate. But Indiana is such a low-key tough job with the pressure from the fans and the alumni and donor base. It just seems like Indiana has a suffocating amount of pressure, where I think McCollum he'll be able to be fresh and loose in Iowa, especially if he gets Sturts back. So going to be really interesting. Indiana should be better, but, I like the McCollum hire for Iowa for sure.
Ricky, I want to bring the coaching discussion back around to the Final Four, because you said something interesting about Golden at Florida, and there's a couple times you're like, they might lose this game because of him. I'm curious. We've kind of got a strange mix of coaches in the Final Four here. Obviously, you got sort of the old guard with Kelvin Sampson and Bruce Pearl, and then you've got a highly successful but pretty inexperienced guy in Shire, and then you've got Golden, who has put together some really good teams at Florida. Is there a guy you think is clearly either the biggest asset or biggest liability out of those 4 coaches?
No, I think 4 great coaches. Obviously, like, if you're ranking the coaches, you probably got to go Kelvin Sampson number 1, just because, like, he just does more with less at Houston. The way he's been able to turn Houston into a power program has been unreal. 6 straight years of making the second weekend, back in the Final Four, for the second time with Houston now. But all these coaches are really good. I mean, Golden and Shire are both in their 30s. Yeah. So, their story is just being written. For Shire to get to the Final Four in his 3rd year at Duke, pretty incredible. I think that, Duke has been just a clear winner of the NIL era. Like, they've just been able to hit the ground running in terms of getting the best, players from the Nike circuit every year. And then Auburn, like, their team's just so old. So Bruce Pearl is like, he's rolling out a bunch of 24 and 25-year-olds. I mean, they're older than a third of the NBA team, it feels like. So definitely amazing coaching matchup. I would say Kelvin Sampson, you got to put him atop your coaching rankings, but these young guys, their story's still being written. So anything could happen in this Final Four.
Let me ask you about a sneaky one. I go back to the Big Ten because he gets a lot of credit for his offensive prowess and how they like to play. What about Nedved in Minnesota? Minnesota seems like one of those jobs that should be better, especially with the AAU circuit and the talent in the state. Do you like that hire?
I do like it. I just think Minnesota's a really tough job in the Big Ten. Yeah, I mean, Minnesota basketball, not a ton of history. Same thing with football. Like, men's basketball and football is always going to be tough at Minnesota. But, I mean, they hired the best possible guy they could have hired, in my opinion. Medved went to Minnesota. He has basically been building his reputation as an elite mid-major coach the last few years. He's putting guys in the NBA every year at Colorado State. Like, how does that happen? From David Roddy to Isaiah Stevens, Nee Clifford should be a first-round pick this year. He's unbelievable. So just the fact that Medved has been able to turn Colorado State into a program that can develop and get elite talent, and he's making the tournament every year, really should have been in the Sweet 16 this season, if not for that Queen buzzer beater in the round of 32 for Maryland. So I think that was a great hire for Minnesota. But when it comes to Minnesota basketball, it's like, I'll believe it when I see it, because the Big Ten, while it doesn't have the one overwhelming team in the conference, like Duke in the ACC or, some of these other, like UConn in the Big East, the level of play in the Big Ten is just so high consistently every year. So just making the tournament is going to be so difficult because half the league, or more than half the league, is tournament caliber. I think Medved was a perfect hire, but, it's tough. It's a tough gig at Minnesota, and we'll see if he can pull it off.
Ricky, before we let you go here, did want to ask you, I know DB brought up the Patinos and now being in the same conference.
Thank you.
What did you think about that hire of Richard Pitino, speaking of a guy that had been at Minnesota and maybe wasn't as good as people were expecting or hoping that he would be, but had a great run in New Mexico? What do you think about that hire to Xavier?
Yeah, I like that. I thought that he did an incredible job at New Mexico. Having JT Toppin and Donovan Dent on the same team for a year in New Mexico is totally incredible. So I know it didn't go amazing for Pitino at Minnesota. I still think he's got upside. As a coach, he's probably in his early 40s, I would guess, so he's got plenty of good years ahead of him. And Xavier is just a consistently very good program. It feels like Xavier's, in the mix to make the tournament every year. The question with Xavier is always the ceiling. Like they got a high floor as a program, but how much can you really win at Xavier? Obviously, Sean Miller thought, Texas has a higher ceiling. That makes sense. So he makes the jump to go there. But I thought Pitino was a really good hire, after you lose Sean Miller for the second time at Xavier. I think Pitino should be able to keep that program rolling, but, you just wonder, what's the upside of that type of program?
Ricky, let me get you out of this. This is the last one for me. We debated this. That poll came out probably, I don't know if it was Bleacher Report. This is right before COVID, and they were ranking jobs. And Texas was in the top 10. I've never forgot about how coaches felt about Texas as a basketball job. Obviously, Miller in Texas. For you, is that a good basketball job?
Yeah, I think so. Like, Texas always viewed as a sleeping giant. I think the nice thing about Texas is, like,
seems to get a lot of guys fired.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. But such a strong recruiting base. Yeah, expectations are always going to be high. Consistently really good, though. Like, they're always landing McDonald's All-Americans every year. They're always going to have money to spend in the transfer portal. And then Texas football gets all the attention and is really what people care about. So, you're a little bit out of the spotlight, kind of like Dusty May is at Michigan, where there's not quite as much pressure on you. But you're right that it does seem like Texas turns over coaches quite a bit. And, you can always get fired. I think Texas thought Chris Beard would be there forever, and they had to move on from him. So Sean Miller, in Arizona, he was just recruiting so well, getting like Aaron Gordon, Stanley Johnson. Like, those were like elite level guys back in the day. And I think he made the Elite Eight 3 times off the top of my head. I know he never made the Final Four, but he was consistently making deep runs in the tournament. So I like that hire, but again, like, the revenue sharing is going to throw a big wrench into this. Like, how much money does Texas basketball have if they got to split the pot with Texas football, and football is going to, get more of the attention and more of the money. So I think that's going to be a really interesting thing coming up. But in general, Texas sleeping giant. I believe they have a newer stadium there too, so they definitely got good resources. We'll see what Sean Miller can do. He's gonna that's as good of a job as you can ask for, in my opinion, if you're Sean Miller, trying to get back to the mountaintop after the Arizona exit. So we'll see.
That's Ricky O'Donnell, SB Nation writer
Way good,
and
Ricky,
editor.
way good.
Great stuff. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
The
We
funny,
didn't even get to the NBA with him next time.
next time we will. It's funny. You brought up Texas and how they get guys fired. So Rick Barnes was there for 15 years, had one season where they don't make the NCAA tournament.
Just one.
And it wasn't his last season, got fired a couple years after that. Shaka Smart missed 3 out of 6 tournaments, got fired after making the tournament, ironically enough, as a 3 seed.
We know about Beard.
It's
unceremonious.
Unceremonious exit, and he was okay in his one full, but they were 22-12. It's not like they were lighting the world on fire. Got off to a good start before he got fired the second year. And then Rodney Terry, 2 NCAA tournament appearances, 1 controversial in my opinion, but gets fired pretty.
You still mad over 15 losses?
Get out of here. Too many. Get out. Gets unceremoniously fired at Texas as well. So it's kind of funny because Texas seems like this toxic combination of apathy and expectations. Because he's right. They do care so much more about football than they do about basketball.
I just don't see how Pierce think that's a top 10 job.
I don't either. Because I also don't think, yes, there's all the money in the world at Texas. Most of that's not coming to you. You're not getting those checks. You're not getting Texas football money.
Well, I think pre-revenue sharing.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I think they could get what they want.
Sure.
Now we'll see how they can enforce it.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of Skrilla though. Don't kid
Here's
yourself.
my question: if it comes down to a quarterback or a point guard, who's getting that money?
Quarterback.
Yeah. 100% of the time. Yeah. I think Michigan's a bad example of that comparison because I think Michigan cares more about basketball than Texas does. I think.
I just put Ohio State ahead of Texas, and Ohio State's had more recent success. It's been a better program the last 25 years.
Yeah, they've eaten coaches less also. A little bit less. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. More Hurrdat Sports Live coming up next.
Mizuno and Oklahoma State softball story is a story of growth and success. After getting to visit the team this fall and watching practice and talking with Coach G, I am confident in this team this year.
The best you is really dang good. I mean, it's really good. Okay? So just be that. No more, no less.
Lightning in my fingers, and I'm nice on my feet. Heavyweight big swinger, got you saying double while the counting to 3.
Mizuno and Oklahoma State softball are built for big moments.
Brace yourself. We got
by Super Bowl champion Cam Jurgens. Cam, I'm sure it's been a whirlwind of the past couple months for you. How do you describe winning a Super Bowl and coming back here to Nebraska and seeing the support?
I feel like there's not really any words to describe a Super Bowl championship. It's just, kind of all the dreams and aspirations coming together. And once you get there, it's like you just kind of reset and you're just trying to do it again. It's kind of hard, but it's just something that will last forever. I'll always be Super Bowl champion. You always put that in front of my name, and it's a pretty neat accomplishment and, something people work for forever and never get to.
Would the little Cam that grew up in Pickerel, Nebraska ever believe that he'd be a Super Bowl champ?
No, I don't think so. I mean, my dream was just to be like a Cornhusker. So, I accomplished that pretty early on, and doing this, I feel like, it's a dream come true.
What's up, guys? Kenny Bell here at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. It is round 2 of Menu Madness, and I am personally voting for the Hail Varsity Burger. You can vote how you please, but be sure to come visit us this weekend. Enjoy some great food, some great basketball, and be sure to cast your vote for round 2 of Menu Madness.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Give me that cheddar, we getting Rico. Big bunny rolls like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Had a little news come down during the our interview there with Ricky O'Donnell from SB Nation. Apparently Stanford has found a football coach, at least for this year.
Yeah.
Frank Reich will be the one-year interim coach agreed upon by both sides to take over Stanford football. I kind of like the idea of, hey, it's probably pretty late in the game here to find a permanent head coach. Let's go find a guy that can help us out for this year and go from there. But Stanford's a weird football job. I don't know what to do there.
I mean, I think Reich will lend itself to instant credibility too.
Yes.
And I wonder about what is Luck's nickname? Captain, is it Comeback? What's Luck? Luck has a nickname.
I don't know. We'll look it up.
But anyway, they appear to be pretty stable with his leadership. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I think so.
he comes across as somebody that knows what he's doing.
He also lends credibility.
Yeah.
Right? He's another guy.
And I think Reich does as well.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not like he doesn't know how to run a program.
Yeah, I think they're like, hey, we're serious about being at least competitive this year. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how good they're going to be. It's interesting because I know institutionally they have some challenges, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of other places that have those challenges as well. That's a place, and I think I brought this up before with them. That's a place where Jeff Monken makes a lot of sense.
Really?
Yes.
You want to do something different stylistically?
I want somebody who is incredibly capable under less than ideal circumstances recruiting.
Yeah. And he does have to deal with
it's as hard to get into
the time commitment academically.
He
doesn't have
probably more.
He doesn't have his guys for very long.
Probably more, right? Because whatever, like the armed forces academies in the U.S. I know we always talk about like Stanford and Ivy Leagues and Notre Dame's. I believe I have this correct that the armed force academies in the United States are the hardest schools in the country to get into. Like I believe that's accurate. They're at least on par with the elite of the elite Ivy schools. I can't
speak to it like I'd like.
I had looked this up at one point, and I'm trying to remember. It's been a few years, but I believe that's accurate. If it's not accurate, they're amongst the most difficult schools to get into in the country, on par with Ivy League schools. And so you're dealing with that in terms of an academic restriction. You're also you have to get a letter from a senator to go to even apply to one of those schools, right? Like they're not playing around. And so you've got that, you've got the academic rigor, and then you've also got the physical rigor of actually doing all of your military stuff. That's above and beyond even what you get at Stanford or Notre Dame or any of these other places that we consider really hard jobs academically. So
how do you think Stanford's alumni base is rolling? They make a lot of money. Are they giving back?
Well, so they are to the school in general because they have one of the largest endowments in the country. So they are
a lot of successful people.
Yeah, right. That helps. But it certainly does, right? But I don't know how motivated they are to give to athletics. I know they are for Olympic sports. They love their Olympic sports. They take a lot of pride in that. So I know it's there, and I know there's enough care about athletics to give in some senses. But you have to find – I think that's part of the reason Andrew Luck is the face of that franchise, if you will. Because that's a guy
I think we can say that now in college.
I think so.
Soon it will go to that.
Right?
Maybe not.
Andrew Luck is a guy that they appreciate both athletically and academically. And I think that's a really good place for the football program to place its trust because he, if anybody can rally donors in a way to the football program that it doesn't seem like they've had the ability to do recently. And for whatever jokes we make about the way he talks and kind of the way he comes off sometimes, I do think he really resonates with that group of people in a way that maybe we don't understand or don't appreciate. But Stanford's a weird job. Part of it's because I'm a Monken homer. Love Jeff Monkins.
He should hire you.
I should be his agent or his PR guy, if nothing else.
Just shout it from the rooftops.
I just appreciate
every job that comes open, darn near you'll talk about Monken.
Any hard job that does for sure. Like any job that I think has challenges, because whatever job he takes is going to be easier than the job he has now, and he's killing it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like he's killing it in a place that is one of the 3 or 4 hardest places in the country to coach.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I genuinely believe that. I don't know how much harder places there are to coach than the service academies.
How old is he? 55 maybe?
Monken, we'll look it up.
55, 56?
He's been around for a long time, but I think he's younger than I remember or than I typically get. 57, so he's getting up there.
That's not bad.
No. But I mean,
He wants some experience navigating some, this is a terrible term, but choppy waters.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I'd be a Naval Academy guy.
Because I think.
That's a joke there.
No, I can't.
Because the Navy is ships.
Yeah. There you go. I appreciate you explaining that to me because what was happening is I was having a hard time kind of bridging the connection. Thank you.
I'm helpful that way.
Yeah. Is that what you call it? Fudge. GT out of here. Out of here. I don't know, man.
Maybe I give him too much credit. I don't know. But I do think it's one of the hardest jobs in the country.
Didn't realize Taylor only had 6 wins.
Yeah. You can't have
I just remember watching them in Colorado. And a couple guys have been getting drafted.
Yeah.
Just been receivers, which is kind of weird.
And they've got the D end in the portal now. That was, I think, highly regarded. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But isn't that the game? Isn't that a 28-point lead Colorado blew last year? Was Stanford?
We went out there and camped
at Stanford.
Yeah.
They
were like, Chick. I was like, oh shoot, that's too far.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, but it's beautiful. I was like, it's too far.
It's a long way out there.
And after about 3 weeks, he was like, yeah, I don't think I can play in front of 10,000.
Fair.
Well, that's what he said.
No, I get it. That matters, right? If you're a high level football player, that matter, or basketball player for that matter. Like, there's a reason Creighton leans into that stuff so much.
Yeah.
Nebraska does too. Like, it's cooler to play in front of 17, 18,000 people every night. It just is.
Speaking of playing in front of small numbers like Quincy University, did you know that Cade Warner is now an offensive coordinator?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Does it seem like he's that old?
I wouldn't have thought so. What is he, like 25?
Well, he's going to Quincy in Illinois.
He can't be that old. He's 26. Yeah, so, he's young.
Quincy?
Like Jones, RIP?
All right, then, Cade. More of a Rashida fan, but.
Yeah, it's fair. Quincy Jones made one of my favorite shows as a kid.
Love Jones?
No.
What?
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, that's Q?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Big Fresh Prince guy.
It's okay.
I liked Will Smith a lot growing up.
Who was your Viv? Which Vivian did you like?
I like the OG.
Yeah. I can't remember. Is that light skin or brown skin?
She was the darker one.
Yeah.
You said brown skin. What's the difference? I can say light skin, but not dark skin. What's the difference?
Sure.
What are we doing here?
I don't know. That kind of gave me the ick.
I saw that. You were repulsed.
Sure.
I was talking about. So this is a funny story, actually.
Oh God.
So
how I was inappropriate about race by Ravi Lulla.
I wasn't. Well, yeah, it kind of was me. Anyway, so my dad brings Indian food home from Temple a lot, right? And my wife really likes Indian food. I don't like going out for Indian food that much, so he'll bring her some Indian food from the Temple. And so he drops some off at the house the other day, and she was super excited about it, so she takes a big old bite, and then immediately regrets it. It is she loves spicy food, but this is like burning a hole in her soul. And
I shouldn't laugh. It's just how you said it.
And she texts my parents. She goes, what happened? What's wrong with this? What happened here? And he goes, oh yeah, the South Indians made it. And South Indian food, if you're not aware.
So my favorite place was, I can't remember, it was something mountain, and it was right on 108th and Q. And this is back when I lived way northwest off 145th and State Street.
Yeah.
I would drive all the way over here. And you know what it was? My little friend, Nitty Gambier, rest RIP. He said, this is the best Indian in the city. And I said, why? He said, it was from the South region. And you like spice. They had the best lollipop chicken, and they had the best tandoori. It was so juicy. And they gave you the whole chicken if you wanted it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was incredible. But it was South region.
As soon as he said South Indians, I go, oh, that'll mess you up.
Kanara is the same way.
So Kanara has a variety.
Yeah.
Kanara,
they have and I think on the menu
it tells you
it's from the southern region.
It tells you which region it's from, or which even state or province it's from.
Kanara's.
But as soon as my parents said South Indian, I was like, oh, you messed up. I was like, you made it. And then I was like, I made a joke because people in the south of India are quite a bit darker than the people in the central and northern regions of India. That's what made me think of that. I was like, oh man, those South Indians will mess you up, boy. You gotta watch out.
Yeah, you can. Those dark-skinned people. You can say that. I can't.
You gotta watch out. But no, it is funny because South Indians, they more have the Thai influence kind of in terms of their food. You'll see some more similarities there. It's almost like a Caribbean type, kind of a mix between Thai and Caribbean food. Whereas North Indian is what most people think of traditional Indian food.
Yeah.
And it's it's just a whole different thing because Northern Indian food get a little spicy. But Southern Indian food, that will hurt you.
She's gonna be all right.
I think she's gonna be okay. She's had to down some yogurt. I know.
Can I ask one? Can I ask one question about that?
Alanis Morissette.
What's up?
What now?
I just want to know what's a traditional dish?
So butter chicken or chicken tikka masala.
Okay.
Or
just so as a frame of reference.
That's the baseline for if you're good, right?
Yeah, that'd be for sure. If you can't make a butter chicken or a chicken tikka or there's another.
I actually think a sneaky barometer should be the naan.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you gotta have good naan. Rice is if they don't have good rice too, that's a deal breaker.
How do you mess up basmati rice?
Some people don't cook it right.
Wait.
Some people cheap out too, and then they use the basmati. They try and use something else. I'm just saying, you gotta be careful there.
The more you know.
I'm not trying to mess around with any of that cheap ass rice,
Yeah.
It's freaking bad.
What is it, Maharanahana?
I'm sorry, what's that?
What's the brand that everybody
I don't
buys?
know.
Oh, I can't even read it.
I can't read.
They use some characters in there I'm unfamiliar with from a different region.
Do you have the? Never mind.
What's that?
Nothing.
Do I have what?
Nope. I'll ask you off air.
But yeah, needless to say, different regions have different specialties.
Yeah. So come back, see if I can give out some winners.
That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla.
Still mad about this mock draft.
Which one?
I follow all the latest mock drafts.
So which
Raiders or Shane? Would you take Genty in Oakland or Las Vegas?
I don't know.
So I've seen a couple now that have Hampton going to the Steelers.
Really?
Yeah.
Would you take Hampton at 19?
I want a quarterback first. Is that too much to ask?
Who you want at 19?
Well, it ain't gonna be Dart anymore, but
you were mad when you thought it was Dart
because I didn't like the way that the room was shaping up. Now it's
okay.
Now we gotta have it.
Now you gotta have one.
Yeah.
Even though Severe thinks he's dumb.
It was his delivery.
More Hurrdat Sports Live coming up next.
Joined now by John Cook and Harper Murray. John, tell us about the emotion throughout the reception that you got here on the court.
I was thinking I'd be really cool and just come out here and people would clap and, but man, I could feel the energy and I don't know, I got a little choked up. So it made me feel really good. And these people, look at this crowd they have tonight. This is unreal. And so just to be a part of it is really cool. And I think people appreciate the connection with Nebraska volleyball. So it was awesome.
Harper, what did it mean for you to see that for Cook and just the reception that he got?
He always says he's not going to cry, and then he always does. But it was adorable. They asked me and Bergen to walk him out, and it was really special, so I'm glad we got to do that.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Joined now by Bergen Reilly. Bergen, you got to take in a game today. Over 10,000 in this crowd. How special is it to see that love for volleyball translate to the pro level too?
Yeah, it's awesome. We feel it every night at Devaney, and I'm happy that it's spreading to pro now, and there's a lot of great opportunities in the United States. So we're really happy that I can start here in Nebraska.
Now, how has beach season gone for you? You guys just got off a trip from Hawaii, won 22 straight, and had a program record for wins this year.
Yeah, it was a great season for us. I think we learned a lot. We got really used to the beach and the wind and the outdoors. It's really different, and there's a lot of different rules that a lot of people don't really know about, but it was super fun, and obviously can't complain about winning 22 straight.
Give me that cheddar, we getting Rico. Big bunny rolls like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that.
What's up, guys? Kenny Bell here at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. It is round 2 of Menu Madness, and I am personally voting for the Hail Varsity Burger. You can vote how you please, but be sure to come visit us this weekend. Enjoy some great food, some great basketball, and be sure to cast your vote for round 2 of Menu Madness.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Amazing Daniel says, went to an Indian place last month, and instead of 1 through 5, they asked mild, medium, hot, extra hot, or Indian hot.
Mild, medium, hot,
extra
hot, or Indian hot.
Yeah.
I wonder what. I could ask him. What's his go-to?
Oh, for like meal-wise?
Yeah.
So
what's the equivalent of if you can't get blank right in America?
So my gut was going to say chicken tenders.
I'm probably going to agree.
Like, it's a little basic.
What about a burger? Like, if you can't do
that's a good
burger?
One. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. Like, it depends on the restaurant, like what the thing would be, right? But if you're just talking general American food,
so you would say, how can you screw up
chicken tenders?
Butter chicken.
Yeah, butter chicken or chicken tikka masala.
I actually think tandoori chicken is hard because it has to stay juicy.
It is hard, but that's like, you have to be able to do it right. You know, like if you're going to have an Indian restaurant, you have to be able to do it right. But on the spice level, it's kind of funny. So a lot of times when Natasha and I go out to an Indian place, which is not that often because I'm usually not in the mood for it, but she'll order.
That's a shocker.
She'll order my food and I'll order hers, so she gets the spice level she wants. Because I don't really like it that spicy. I like it kind of mild.
I do. And I have a lot of ingredients still.
Yeah.
From when you sent me to the grocery store.
When you call me from the grocery store, hey.
I did.
Hey, would you have any of this? No.
Yeah, and it's right by my buddy's nutrition shop.
I don't cook.
It's right next door. Yeah, that was the worst bit of information ever.
I was like,
that phone a friend. I should have. If that was the game show, I'd have hung up.
I'd be like, hold on, I'll ask my dad. And then my dad took like 12 hours to text me back.
How do you not know?
I don't cook.
Clearly.
I don't cook. But no, yeah. So we reversed the order so that she gets the Indian hot and I get the white people hot.
I'm intimidated by I told you I'm doing a leg of lamb.
Yeah.
But I'm pot committed to smoking it.
Lamb's pretty good. Like if
I've looked up probably 20 TikTok recipes.
So here's the thing I will say about like South Indian food versus like Central and Northern Indian food. If you want meat, you're probably better off at a South Indian place.
That was the whole difference and why we picked I can't remember what it was. It was something mountain. And it wasn't open for long enough, and I thought it was incredible.
Yeah, because generally Southern Indian is more the Catholic base of the country, so they're not gonna have like the cow issues, right? So in Northern India, you get some chicken, you get some lamb, but you're not getting any beef up there. Go to Southern India, you'll get more of the Catholics, so you'll get more of the more meat varieties, and they're typically a little bit more experienced cooking meat, so they a little bit better. A little trick for you there.
Telling you, the place was fire.
Trying to help you out.
And I don't know if Astoria was what took over, but it's still one door down. It's not the exact same building.
Oh yeah, over on Q.
Yeah. But Astoria is over there now, which is fine.
Yeah, I don't know that I've been there.
Yeah, that's fine.
I've had some. I think somebody's catered from there. I've had it before, but I don't generally try and judge a restaurant based on their catering just because it's a little different. You know, it's a little more. It's a different challenge than cooking for in restaurant there.
Canara will cater to. I think they need 48 hours or 72.
That's actually pretty short. Like time frame, if you need something, like that's not a bad turnaround.
I think it's 72 maybe.
Yeah. No, I like it out there. I've been impressed. There's several good Indian places around here.
Cool family too.
Yeah. Well, the chef will come around and talk to you.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
No, there's some good Indian places around town here.
I didn't know my man QB Ace is a cat guy. You guys bonding over that?
Yeah, it's my guy. You showed me the picture. His cat sits up on his shoulder like mine does. I'm telling you, I will walk around the house. Potato will just perch up there like a parrot.
He's fat. How are you doing that?
I got big shoulders, man. At least I used to.
I'd be like, yeah.
Do you nickname him like Potato Chip or Sweet Potato or anything like that?
I do. I call him Potato Pancake sometimes. I call him Tater Tot every once in a while. That's actually how Potato got started. I just call him Tater Tot for no reason.
Don't have any really good plays today.
No winners today?
I do like the Lakers laying the 4, but NBA
kind of a crapshoot, man.
Don't do it.
That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We'll be back tomorrow. More Hurrdat Sports Live.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.